Chapter 1305. Yes, I was too reckless last time, so I'll be the host this time. Let's talk about what happened last time. Xiao Fafa nodded. All right, let's go. Lin Yi nodded. BSP. Xiao Fafa didn't expect Lin Yi to be so easygoing. He was overjoyed and quickly led the way with Wu Liuqi, leaving the school with Lin Yi. When they reached the school gate, Xiao Fafa realized that there was a ticket on his car. The school gate was a no-parking zone, and Lin Yi had parked his car at the food street behind the school. Naturally, he wouldn't park his car here. Xiao Fafa was a bit pissed. It wasn't about the ticket, it was about his face. His car got a ticket in front of Lin Yi. It made him feel embarrassed, as if he didn't know the rules. Fa bro, who posted this? Wu Liuqi saw Xiao Fafa's unhappy face and immediately guessed what he was thinking. He ran to the car and tore the ticket off, throwing it on the ground. Lin Yi saw the ticket, but he was too lazy to expose Xiao Fafa and Wu Liuqi's fake behavior. Liuqi, this is a sports car. It can only take 2 people. You can follow behind in a taxi? Xiao Fafa turned his head. Sure, no problem. Wu Liuqi wanted to get close to Xiao Fafa. He knew that Xiao Fafa was rich now, and he had a powerful relative. So eating was a small matter. His family was well off, and he didn't lack a meal. The key was to please Xiao Fafa. Looking at Lin Yi getting into his car alone, Xiao Fafa was overjoyed. This kid was really dumb. Did he really think that he was going to treat him to a meal? What an idiot. When Sun Xiaoxing brought people to the room, he would be scared to death. Sun Xiaoxing chose the most expensive restaurant in Songshan, Tyrant Fish. It was one of the most expensive restaurants in Songshan. The price was not any lower than Starlight Hotel. Xiao Fafa parked his car in front of Tyrant Fish and entered the restaurant with Lin Yi. Welcome. As soon as the 3 of them entered the door, a waitress bowed politely and greeted them. It could be seen that the service here was top-notch. Looking at the waitress's appearance and height, one could tell that the quality of this place was not low. The decoration of this place was not inferior to that of the Starlight Hotel. Lin Yi had never been here before, but he'd heard Xiao mention it before. The girl had always wanted to have a feast here, but she didn't have the money or the opportunity. It was quite a pity that he didn't bring Xiao here today. One of Xiao's greatest joys in life was eating delicacies. She probably had one less day to eat, and so she was very familiar with all the food cities in Songshan. Room 588. Xiao Fafa said proudly to the waitress. We've made a reservation. Did Mr. Sun make a reservation? Please follow me. The waiter said after checking the PDA on his palm. Looking at the advanced equipment in the hands of the waiter, one could also indirectly reflect the level of this place. After Lin Yi, Xiao Fafa, and Wu Liuqi entered the room, Sun Xiaoxing was already waiting inside, but his men hadn't arrived yet. Xiao Fafa planned to let Lin Yi order the dishes and talk for a while before calling Sun Xiaoxing's men to scare Lin Yi. If they appeared too early, he was afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't dare to order the dishes, and then there wouldn't be any fun in scaring people. Fa bro, you're here. Sun Xiaoxing stood up and said respectfully. This is Lin Yi, the main character of this meal. Xiao Fafa pointed at Lin Yi and gave Sun Xiaoxing a look. Lin Yi, welcome. Sun Xiaoxing immediately understood what Xiao Fafa meant. It wasn't the first time he did this. You're the guest, you order the dishes. With that, Sun Xiaoxing passed the menu to Lin Yi, letting him order the dishes. Oh, okay. Lin Yi didn't know what Xiao Fafa was planning, but Lin Yi didn't care. He took the menu and looked at it. The dishes here weren't cheap, and some were ridiculously expensive. Lin Yi was like Xiao. He took the menu and ordered the expensive dishes. Even if he knew that Xiao Fafa was rich, Lin Yi still wanted to rip him off. Unknowingly, Lin Yi was influenced by Xiao's style. Otherwise, according to Lin Yi's character, he wouldn't come out to eat with Xiao Fafa. He would grab Xiao Fafa's collar and throw him down the stairs. Seeing how Lin Yi ordered so many expensive dishes, Xiao Fafa's face lit up with joy. Before, he was afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't order these expensive dishes. He was thinking of how to persuade Lin Yi to order more expensive dishes. That was the only way to get Lin Yi to pay the bill. But Lin Yi was the first to order the delicacies. It seemed that the kid was a little retarded. He didn't know that he was the one paying for the food, did he? This is all I've ordered. Do you want to add more? Lin Yi passed the menu back to Zhao Fafa and asked. Zhao Fafa looked at Lin Yi's order. Lin Yi ordered almost 200,000 yuan worth of seafood. This made Zhao Fafa very satisfied. Although Zhao Fafa's family was rich, and he drove a sports car, his monthly allowance was only this much. He didn't want to spend so much money on food. Xiaoxing, Liuqi, you guys order more. It's my treat. Just order the expensive dishes. Zhao Fafa passed the menu back to Sun Xiaoxing and Wu Liuqi. Okay. Thank you, Fa bro. I won't hold back then. Sun Xiaoxing took the menu knowingly and began to order more dishes that cost more than 100,000 yuan at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Sun Xiaoxing's family was different from Zhao Fafa and Wu Liuqi. His family didn't have much money. Although Zhao Fafa gave him 50,000 yuan every month to develop his business, how could he bear to spend money on food? That money was also used to recruit followers, so how could he let go of such a good opportunity to eat to his heart's content? He ordered some expensive seafood that he couldn't eat normally. He was going to have a good meal later. After Sun Xiaoxing finished ordering, Wu Liuqi also took the menu, but he didn't order more. Instead, he told the waiter to order the same things that Sun Xiaoxing ordered. That's it? Don't be shy. Order whatever you want. Zhao Fafa saw that the two were cooperating, and he was elated. This was great. He ordered 500,000 worth of dishes in one go. Lin Yi was going to have a headache later. Let's see how he pays the bill. Chapter 1306. Fa bro already said that he's treating. Why are you guys still being so polite? Lin Yi opened his mouth. How about this, since Fa bro is so passionate, we'll give them 2 more servings of everything they ordered. Yes, sir. The waiter nodded politely. He didn't think that the people in the room couldn't afford the bill at all. He heard that these people came in a Ferrari. How could they not have money? Give me 3 more servings. Zhao Fafa felt that it wasn't enough, so he asked the waiter to give him 1 more. He wanted to kill Lin Yi. He wanted Lin Yi to die. All right. Is there anything else you need? The waiter nodded. No, go and serve the dishes. We need to talk. Zhao Fafa waved his hand, signaling the waiter to leave. After the waiter left, Zhao Fafa looked at Lin Yi with a serious face. Do you know why I asked you to come here? What's the matter? Aren't you treating me to a meal? Is there something else? Lin Yi paused and asked back. Zhao Fafa didn't expect this person to be so careless. Was he stupid? He was fine. Why did he invite him to a meal? Wasn't he bored? Isn't that so? Lin Yi asked. Do you think I'm stupid? Zhao Fafa was in pain. Why was this person so stupid? Normal people would have noticed something at this moment, but this kid seemed to be fine. He didn't even notice the danger in front of him. Seems like it. Otherwise, why would you spend so much money to treat me to a meal? Lin Yi nodded. Fuck. Zhao Fafa heard Lin Yi's words. He was furious. He slammed the table. Kid, I'm telling you, I'm here to talk to you. What happened last time isn't over yet. Oh. Lin Yi nodded. You invited me to dinner just for the matter last time? What happened last time is in the past, and I don't plan to pursue it. You don't have to treat me to a big meal. Zhao Fafa wanted to cry. How could there be such an idiot in this world who didn't understand what was being said? She was threatening him, but he took it as an apology. Why was this person's IQ so low? All right, I know you feel bad about it, so treat me to a meal. No problem. I accept your kindness. Nothing needs to be said. Lin Yi said. Damn you. Sun Xiaoxing saw the ugly expression on Zhao Fafa's face. He slammed the table and pointed at Lin Yi. Kid, listen up. Fa bro didn't call you here to apologize. He's here to cause you trouble. Find trouble with me? Treating me to a meal is to cause trouble for me? Then I'd rather have more troubles in the future. Lin Yi said indifferently. You. Sun Xiaoxing wanted to cry. Was there something wrong with his speech? Why didn't Lin Yi understand what she was saying? At this moment, there was a knock on the door. The waiter was here to serve the dishes. Now was not the time to eat, and hotels of this level all had prepared food, so it didn't take long for the delicious dishes they had ordered to be served on the table. The waiter's arrival helped Zhao Fafa and Sun Xiaoxing out of the predicament. They were at their wits' end when they met someone like Lin Yi who didn't understand words. In the past, those who were scared were also smart. As long as he gave them a hint, they would be scared witless. However, this kid in front of him, after hinting for a long time, he misunderstood and thought that he really wanted to treat him to a meal. The waiter left after placing the dishes on the table. Zhao Fafa and Sun Xiaoxing, on the other hand, looked at each other. They were thinking about how to continue the conversation with Lin Yi. But before they could speak, Lin Yi spoke first. This crab is really big. It's a giant. I heard it's called king crab, right? Let's eat while it's hot. If you have anything to say, we can talk after the meal. With that, he didn't care about Zhao Fafa and Sun Xiaoxing as he took the crab and started eating. Zhao Fafa and Sun Xiaoxing were speechless. Wu Liuqi, on the other hand, didn't know what was going on and didn't dare to speak. Ahem. Lin Yi, put the crab down first and listen to me. Zhao Fafa looked at Lin Yi eating the crab. He was a little depressed and snorted. Oh, go ahead. I'll listen while I eat. Lin Yi didn't seem to want to put the crab down. Tell me the truth. I like Tang Yun. Give her to me, and I'll let this go. Otherwise... Humph. Zhao Fafa said threateningly, but even he himself felt that the threat wasn't as threatening as it sounded out from his mouth. In the past, every time Zhao Fafa scared people, they would be scared and sit there, not moving at all. But now, the person in front of him was Lin Yi, who was stuffing himself with food. It was funny no matter how he looked at it. Lin Yi replied and continued eating. I'm talking to you. Did you hear me? Zhao Fafa was furious. Kid, Fa bro is talking to you. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. What do you want? Tell me. Sun Xiaoxing couldn't hold it in anymore. I'm telling you, I'm from the underworld. Don't think that you can do anything just because you have some skills. I can kill you easily. Oh. Lin Yi replied indifferently. Who knew if he heard what Sun Xiaoxing said or not? Kid, did you hear me or not? Zhao Fafa couldn't stand Lin Yi's attitude anymore. Xiaoxing, call people over. Yes. Sun Xiaoxing was waiting for this moment. He was very angry at Lin Yi. He was waiting for Zhao Fafa to call people over to teach Lin Yi a lesson. Sun Xiaoxing's men were already prepared. They were waiting in the room next door. So when Sun Xiaoxing gave the signal, the men in the room next door rushed into his room. These men were all wearing black shirts and pants. Their hair was dyed in different colors. Although they didn't have any weapons in their hands, their waists were bulging. Obviously, they had a dagger or something like that in their pockets. Zhao bro, Sun bro. These men knew Zhao Fafa. They knew that Zhao Fafa was Sun Xiaoxing's boss. So, they greeted Zhao Fafa as soon as they entered the room. Zhao Fafa frowned. Obviously, he wasn't happy with the name Zhao bro. How many times do I have to tell you? Call me Fa bro or Fa master. Yes, brother Fa. The underlings hurriedly repeated. Chapter 1307. Don't say those useless things. Zhao Fafa heard Lin Yi's inaccurate pronunciation, and naturally knew that he was teasing him. He pointed at Lin Yi. See that? If you nod your head today, I'll leave with these people and pretend that nothing happened. If you don't nod your head, then I'm sorry, but you'll have to call for an ambulance. Oh, so you're saying that I'll go to the hospital if I eat too much? Lin Yi pointed at the delicious food on the table. Indeed, there's quite a lot. If I ate all of this, I'd really end up in the hospital. How about this? I'll call my girlfriend and ask her to come eat with us. Lin Yi wanted to call Xiao Xiao. There was so much good food here, he should let her enjoy it. Otherwise, it'd be a waste. Zhao Fafa paused after hearing Lin Yi's words. Call your girlfriend? Wasn't Lin Yi's girlfriend Tang Yun? Could it be that this kid changed his mind and wanted to give Tang Yun to him? This kid wasn't an idiot, he just didn't want to lose face. Was that why he used such a subtle method to get what he wanted? Yes, that was very likely. Zhao Fafa felt that his IQ was too high. He immediately thought of what Lin Yi was thinking. It seemed that his threat was effective. Lin Yi was scared, he just didn't want to lose face. Humph, at least you know what's good for you. I thought you were stubborn. Hurry up and make the call. Don't waste time. Zhao Fafa thought of Tang Yun's body and felt an itch in his heart. Lin Yi didn't correct Zhao Fafa. He picked up the phone and called Xiao. Lin Yi honey, where did you go? Why didn't I see you after PE class? Xiao had just finished her class and was wondering where Lin Yi had gone. Drive to Tyrant Fish Seafood Restaurant right now. Someone's treating us to a seafood feast. Lin Yi said. It's a room reserved by that Sun guy. Okay, I'll go right away. Xiao agreed immediately. She loved big meals, especially when she was with Lin Yi. It was free. Lin Yi didn't drive before, leaving his car at school. Xiao, on the other hand, had a set of keys, so she could just drive over. Kid, you're pretty smart, aren't you? If that's the case, I won't beat you up. Zhao Fafa waved his hand and gestured to the people in the room. Everyone, sit down and eat. This kid is still on the right path. Thank you, Fa bro. When these people saw all kinds of delicious seafood on the table, their eyes were about to turn green. Previously, they were in another private room, only drinking tea and waiting for orders. There was nothing to eat at all. Moreover, it was rare for them to eat such delicious food. At this moment, their eyes were shining with desire to eat. Wait. Just as these people were about to sit down, Lin Yi waved his hand and stopped them. If they eat, what about my girlfriend? Didn't you come here for nothing? Fafa blinked. That's right. How could Tang Yin eat with a bunch of vulgar people when she's here? What's more, Tang Yun was about to become his woman, so he had to treat Tang Yun even better. All right, you guys stand here for a bit. I'll treat you later. Zhao Fafa waved his hand and gestured for them to continue standing. Although these people were a little disappointed, they didn't dare to argue with Zhao Fafa. After all, their money was supported by Zhao Fafa, so they could only stand aside obediently. Very soon, there was a knock on the door. Zhao Fafa was very excited. He couldn't wait for Tang Yun anymore. He waved his hand, and one of his men opened the door. But the person who came in made Zhao Fafa pause. It wasn't Tang Yun, but another girl. She was pretty, but Zhao Fafa was obsessed with Tang Yun these days. He wouldn't give up until he got what he wanted. You are. Zhao Fafa looked at the person weirdly. Did she knock on the wrong door? Lin Yi honey, you really are here. Xiao didn't even bother with Zhao Fafa. When she saw Lin Yi, she excitedly ran over and sat beside Lin Yi. She looked at the food on the table and exclaimed, "There's so much good food." Yeah, hurry up and eat. Let's eat together. Lin Yi put a giant crab on Xiao's plate. Sure. Xiao didn't care. She was a little suspicious of the atmosphere in the room, but with Lin Yi here, she didn't have to worry about anything. Since Lin Yi told her to eat, she was ready to eat. Lin Yi, didn't you say your girlfriend was here? What's going on? Are you messing with me? Zhao Fafa couldn't take it anymore as he looked at the couple who only had food in their eyes. He slammed the table and roared, "Where's Tang Yun? I didn't say Tang Yun was coming. Isn't she my girlfriend?" Lin Yi pointed at Xiao innocently. Her? Isn't your girlfriend Tang Yun? Zhao Fafa frowned. Tang Yun's sis is the first wife, and I'm the second wife. What's wrong with that? Oh right, who are you? Xiao looked at Zhao Fafa strangely after explaining. She didn't know who this guy was. Oh, he's the one who's treating us. Lin Yi said. Ignore him. He's too rich to spend. He's treating us. Oh, there's an idiot like him in this world. He's so dumb. Xiao nodded and started eating the crab. Eat. Eat my ass. I'm the one who's going to kill you. You're toying with me? Zhao Fafa finally realized that Lin Yi had been toying with him all along. This guy wasn't an idiot at all. He underestimated him. I'm not toying with you. I've been telling you the truth, but you didn't believe me, Lin Yi said. All right, take a seat first. My girlfriend and I are going to eat. Beat him up. Zhao Fafa was really pissed now. He pointed at Lin Yi and ordered his men at the door. You talk too much. Lin Yi threw a crab shell at Zhao Fafa's mouth. The crab shell wasn't sharp, but with Lin Yi's strength, it stuck around Zhao Fafa's mouth and sealed his mouth. Chapter 1308. Everyone was scared. Zhao bro, what's wrong? Sun Xiaoxing saw that Zhao Fafa was hit by a crab shell and jumped up. "Don't call me Zhao bro. Call me Fa bro," Zhao Fafa said with a trembling voice. "Okay. Fa bro, what's wrong?" Sun Xiaoxing thought. Why was he still thinking about how to address him at this time? He was in a hurry, and he was used to calling him Zhao bro. Beat him up. Zhao Fafa didn't expect Lin Yi to attack first. He pointed at Lin Yi and ordered, "Beat him up." Sun Xiaoxing heard Zhao Fafa's words and jumped up to order his men. Sun Xiaoxing's men were ready to attack, but they didn't know what to do after Lin Yi injured Zhao Fafa so suddenly. However, Sun Xiaoxing wouldn't make a move. He wasn't good at fighting. He only came out to recruit followers because he borrowed Zhao Fafa's money to get some followers. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A few crab legs flew out and pierced the faces of the men who were going to teach Lin Yi a lesson. The face was one of the most sensitive parts of the human body. Lin Yi's crab legs pierced through the men's faces, and they screamed in pain. "Wow, Lin Yi honey, you're so strong," Xiao Xiao said excitedly. "But you should have pierced their eyes." Wah! The underlings who were in so much pain were planning on beating Lin Yi to death after pulling out the crab legs, but they froze upon hearing Xiao Xiao's words, cold sweat dripping down their foreheads. Pierced their eyes? Wouldn't that make them blind? Earlier, they were blinded by the pain and didn't think much about it. But now, they suddenly remembered that Lin Yi's aim was very good. The crab shell flew into Zhao Fafa's mouth in an instant, and these crab legs seemed to be very casual, but they were all accurate. Every crab leg hit the target. Therefore, these subordinates immediately calmed down. It was true that these people usually fought and bullied the weak, but it didn't mean that they weren't afraid of getting hurt. Moreover, it wasn't an ordinary injury, it was blinding. If the crab's leg was stuck in his eye, he would definitely go blind without a doubt. There was no chance of luck at all. "That makes sense. Let's stab the eye sockets then," Lin Yi said as he picked up a few crab legs from the table. "Run!" The man in front immediately started to retreat. He turned around and ran. He was the person closest to Lin Yi. If Lin Yi threw a crab leg, it would probably hit his eye first. With the first deserter, the others were naturally discouraged. These hooligans who had their faces pierced by the crab's foot ran faster than the other. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from the room without a trace. It was true that these people took Zhao Fafa's money, but it was fine for them to eat, drink, and play. It was fine to scare the weak occasionally, but it was impossible for them to die or get injured. They weren't idiots. If they didn't run now, when would they run? And so, in an instant, only Zhao Fafa, Sun Xiaoxing, and Wu Liuqi were left in the room. Sun Xiaoxing's face was very ugly. He didn't think that his sworn brothers would be so disloyal, running away in a blink of an eye. How could he face Zhao Fafa like this? At this time, the crab shell on Zhao Fafa's face was taken off. His face was full of blood, but it wasn't life-threatening. Zhao Fafa's face was filled with fear. This was the first time he was humiliated since he was crowned as one of the Songshan 4 young masters. In the past, he didn't need to say anything to threaten people, and they would be scared shitless. This was the first time he met someone like Lin Yi. "Wu Liuqi, is this the result of your investigation? Why is this Lin Yi so strong?" Zhao Fafa wanted to cry. If he knew that Lin Yi was this ruthless, he wouldn't have thought of doing anything to him. But now that he was humiliated, he had to take revenge. "Fa bro, Lin Yi is only good at fighting alone in school. I've never heard of him using hidden weapons." Wu Liuqi's face was bitter. Lin Yi was famous in school, but that was only in fighting alone. Heibao bro, Pin Liang, and Zhou Ruoming all suffered losses, but Wu Liuqi didn't know about this. He didn't even know the difference between golden class masters, and it was impossible for him to know about the conflicts between Lin Yi, Pin Liang, and Zhou Ruoming. He only saw the surface, but he realized that he was wrong. "Lin Yi, I admit that you're better, but it's a small world. This isn't over yet." Zhao Fafa knew that he wouldn't be able to get back at Lin Yi today. He said those words and wanted to leave. From his point of view, Lin Yi wouldn't dare to do anything to him. He was someone with a strong background. Would Lin Yi kill him in front of everyone? "Wait, pay the bill first," Lin Yi said faintly. It seemed like he didn't want Zhao Fafa to stay at all. "Pay the bill? Lin Yi, don't push me too far." Zhao Fafa's face turned cold as he looked at Lin Yi with hatred. He didn't even have the intention to pay the bill. This concept didn't exist in his dictionary. From his point of view, it was already good enough that he didn't cause trouble for Lin Yi today. Asking him to pay the bill? Push you? Am I pushing you? You're the one who invited me here, aren't you? Lin Yi picked up a crab shell and looked at Zhao Fafa with a smile that wasn't a smile. Lin Yi, honey, you want to throw crab shells again? All right, throw them on his butt this time. Xiao said. Zhao Fafa's face darkened. He didn't expect Xiao to be so evil. She actually used such a dirty trick. He looked at the crab shell in Lin Yi's hand again. Zhao Fafa was really afraid that Lin Yi would throw it out if he didn't like it. Fine. I'll pay. Zhao Fafa gritted his teeth. He decided to endure it today, but there was still time. Zhao Fafa endured the pain in his mouth and asked Sun Xiaoxing to call the waiter. He paid the bill in front of Lin Yi and snorted before leaving the room. Before leaving, Zhao Fafa swore in his heart that he would return the humiliation today 100 times. He was a man with a strong backing. In front of his distant cousin, this Lin Yi was just a piece of trash. All the young masters in Songshan had to give face to his cousin. Zhao Fafa finally felt better after thinking about it. From his point of view, Lin Yi was already someone he could do whatever he wanted to him. Chapter 1309. Lingshan was troubled. How can it be fine? Why don't you put a crab shell on your mouth? Zhao Fafa couldn't help but get angry. You useless piece of trash. These are the men you hired? Dropping the ball at the most crucial moment. Giving you 100,000 every month for these ungrateful bastards? Sun Xiaoxing blushed. Fa bro, you can't blame them. You can only blame that Lin Yi kid for being too cruel. Humph. Cruel? I didn't want to ask my cousin for help, but Lin Yi forced me to do it, so don't blame me for being merciless. If my cousin does it, Lin Yi will be crippled even if he doesn't die. Zhao Fafa snorted. Sir, what happened to you? The waiter saw the blood on Zhao Fafa's mouth and quickly reported it to the hotel manager. Since Zhao Fafa was a regular here, the manager took it very seriously. He ran over directly to show his concern for Zhao Fafa. But he didn't know that Zhao Fafa was still holding his anger. He replied angrily after hearing the manager's question. I cut myself on the crab, can't I? Why are you so nosy? What does it have to do with you? The manager was confused by Zhao Fafa's scolding, feeling depressed. He wanted to comfort Zhao Fafa, but he got scolded instead. Then, mister, please have a safe journey. The manager could only turn to Zhao Fafa with a smile on his face. In the room, Lin Yi watched as Xiao gobbled down the food, and he couldn't get tired of it. He didn't know when it started, but watching Xiao eat had become a pleasure for Lin Yi. Xiao was a girl who didn't put on airs, and she didn't try to be polite when eating. She loved to eat, and she didn't care about the small things. But because of Xiao's straightforwardness, Lin Yi liked her more and more. Don't eat too much, we'll take it back later. Lin Yi said. Seafood is a cold type of food. If you eat it right, it will increase the yin energy in your body, and it will cause illness. I don't have long to live anyway. If I don't eat more of my favorite food, it'll be a great loss if I die. Xiao said nonchalantly, but then sighed. Man, forget it, I won't eat it. I don't want to die this early. I haven't lived enough yet. I'm really happy to be with you guys every day. Hee, then let's pack it up. Lin Yi said. We can still have a meal at night. Yes. I'll listen to you. Xiao nodded. Right, Lin Yi honey, what's with that Zhao Fafa? Him. Lin Yi told Xiao about Zhao Fafa's situation. Lin Yi didn't care about a small fry like this at all. He came with him today because he had nothing better to do, and he could even bring Xiao to a free meal. In fact, it wasn't that Lin Yi couldn't afford the meal, but it was because he was in a different mood. Bringing Xiao to a free meal made her very excited and happy. This girl really liked to trick people. So that's how it is. Lin Yi honey, you know how to trick people now. Xiao laughed. Didn't I learn it from you? Lin Yi smiled. Unknowingly, Lin Yi's personality was changing as well. He was influenced by the people around him, and he was different from before. Lingshan had been very busy these days, and according to Huaijuan's analysis, she'd shifted her focus to the marketplace, sending a large number of police officers to all sorts of industries. There was only one direction to investigate, and that was whether or not someone had been offering high rewards to trick people into doing things for them. With a direction to investigate, the results weren't a problem. Very soon, the investigation teams all came back with news, and all the clues pointed to one place: underground fighting arenas. After an investigation by the police, they found that there were indeed people looking for waiters, truck drivers, temporary workers, hotel security guards, construction workers, and so on to have a go at it. They offered a very high price tag, with a reward of 100,000 to 200,000. For many people, it was a certain temptation. Of course, not everyone took the bait, or there wouldn't be all these clues. Ling Shan looked at the reports on the table, and finally, she felt like the dark clouds had been pushed aside, and she could see the clear sky. There was finally a clue to this case. With this important clue, the rest would be much simpler. She just needed to find the location of the arena. But, this arena, Ling Shan had never heard of it before, so it should be a new illegal place. Ding ding ding. Ling Shan was flipping through the reports when she heard a knock on the door. Ling Shan didn't think much about it and said casually, "Come in." "Ling Shan, are you busy? Do you have time tonight? Want to have dinner together?" It was Xie Yufeng, who had left the school temporarily. He didn't have the face to stay in school anymore after what happened that day. "Yes, I'm busy." Ling Shan replied faintly, "There's a case, and I have to work overtime tonight. Forget about dinner. We'll talk about it another day." Ling Shan didn't have a good attitude towards Yufeng, but she didn't want to completely piss him off. House Yu was a place that House Song couldn't afford to offend at the moment, and she didn't want to bring trouble to her house because of her stubbornness. She could only force herself to play along, hoping that Yufeng would back off. "Is that so? Another day is fine then." Yufeng didn't force her. He sat on the sofa across from Ling Shan. "Did you get into some trouble? Do you need help? Just ask, I'll see what I can do." "Sorry, the case is confidential." Ling Shan naturally wouldn't say much to Yufeng, in case he got involved in her work and life. She wouldn't be able to push him away. "Ha, I'm just saying." Yufeng felt a little awkward after hearing that, but there was nothing he could do about it. Ling Shan's confidential made him stop asking. "I'm going to a meeting now, Mr. Yu. Please help yourself," Ling Shan said. She didn't want Yufeng to stay in her office any longer. "All right, I'll be going then. I'll come find you when you're done with your work." Yufeng didn't say much, standing up and leaving the office. Yufeng was very experienced when it came to picking up girls, and he had his own way of dealing with cold beauties like Ling Shan. That was to keep on pestering her. But he couldn't chase her too tightly. As long as he was shameless, he'd succeed. Chapter 13:10. Ling Shan didn't even have the mood to get up and send him off. She didn't know why, but seeing Yufeng made her feel uncomfortable. She felt that he was too fake, that he didn't give her any sense of security at all. It would be a miracle if she had feelings for him. Then, she thought of Lin Yi. They were both men, but Lin Yi gave her a completely different feeling. She didn't have a good impression of Lin Yi at first, but that was only limited to the annoyance towards Lin Yi. It was the type where she wanted to fight with Lin Yi whenever she saw him, but it wasn't the type where she hated Lin Yi from the bottom of her heart. Yufeng, on the other hand, was more like disgust. She didn't even want to look at him for a second longer. Now that she thought about it, Lin Yi was very direct sometimes, and didn't know how to make her like him, but she really liked his honest way of speaking. Just thinking about Lin Yi made her heart uneasy. She didn't know why, but she wanted to give Lin Yi a call. Just hearing his voice would make her feel better. Ling Shan didn't know if this counted as falling in love with Lin Yi, but she did know that ever since he saved her from the kidney trafficking company's basement, her mentality had changed. She'd given up on everything, and at the same time, she'd become attached to Lin Yi. The call went through, and she felt a little nervous. What was she supposed to say to Lin Yi? Should she say that she missed him? He'd probably call her Miss Braindead or Miss Idiot if she said that. "Hello? Miss Song? What's up?" Lin Yi's impression of Ling Shan was slowly changing. The two were friends now, and Lin Yi naturally couldn't call her Miss Braindead or Miss Idiot, but calling her Ling Shan or Xianxia wasn't something he could bring himself to do. Calling her Miss Song would make them feel distant too. So Lin Yi just changed it to Miss Song. "Oh, there's something." Ling Shan was very happy. It seemed that she'd improved in Lin Yi's impression of her. She'd gone from being an idiot to a little idiot, and now she was a normal girl. Not bad, not bad. What is it? Hurry up and tell me, I'm driving. Lin Yi and Xiaoxiao had just come out of the Tyrant Fish Seafood restaurant and were on their way to school. It's like this. Didn't I tell you before about the missing people? Recently, there's been a lot of people from all walks of life disappearing mysteriously. Ling Shan said. According to my investigation, it's probably an underground boxing ring that's tricking these people into boxing. So, I wanted to ask you if you know anything about the underground boxing ring. I don't know. Lin Yi said subconsciously before pausing. Wait, what did you say? Underground boxing ring? Yeah, you know about it? Ling Shan asked happily. She'd sent people to investigate, but there was no news about the underground boxing ring. But this wasn't a surprise. Jianghu's underground boxing ring had passed the initial stage of promotion, and there was no need for that anymore. It was full of customers every day, and the regulars would introduce themselves to each other. The business would only get better and better, and there was no need for promotion. Boxing was illegal in the first place, and so these people wouldn't talk about it casually. They wouldn't tell people they weren't familiar with, either. It was only natural that Ling Shan couldn't find anything. I know, but I'll ask around for the specifics. Wait for my call, Lin Yi said. Ling Shan's words reminded Lin Yi of the person who gave out the flyers, and then Gooden barged into the ring himself and finished off that fighter Li with one punch. Finding the location of the underground boxing ring wasn't a hard thing for Lin Yi. Okay, I'll wait for your call then. Ling Shan was so happy that she wanted to cheer. Lin Yi really was her lucky star. One phone call was all it took to find a clue. Lin Yi was so awesome. Every time there was a problem, she could find the answer with Lin Yi. Hanging up the phone, Ling Shan stretched lazily. Her seductive posture was enough to mesmerize anyone, but no one was able to see it. She would only show this expression in front of Lin Yi, after all. Her usual self was that of someone who'd been through a lot. Gooden didn't have a phone, but Yuan did. He'd been hanging out with Yuan these days, and Lin Yi didn't interfere. Gooden wouldn't be staying in Songshan for long, and he'd have to go back to West Star Village for sure. He finally found a love, and Lin Yi didn't want to disturb them. Gooden's mission was done, and the potion was sent over. Lin Yi had planned to take him around the city to play, but Gooden would be more than happy to play with Yuan now. After getting the address, Lin Yi called Ling Shan again. Miss Song, remember the address? Okay. Ling Shan didn't expect Lin Yi to get the answer so quickly. She nodded and took out a pen and paper. Tell me. The address is. Lin Yi told her the address. The opponent might have a master in the arena. There was a mystic physical practitioner before, but my friend killed him. I don't know if there's still one left. Just plan first. Oh, they have a mystic? Ling Shan didn't expect that there would be a master like that in an arena. I heard that it was a fighter in charge, but he's dead now. Don't worry, I'm just worried that they still have a master like that. Lin Yi said. Just be careful. I understand. Don't worry, I won't do anything reckless. Hearing Lin Yi's concern filled Ling Shan's heart. She was so happy that she didn't know where she was anymore. If they really do have a master, give me a call, and I'll go help you. Lin Yi said after a sigh. With their current relationship, Lin Yi couldn't just watch Ling Shan do something dangerous. Lin Yi didn't want to be a busybody, but he still reminded her. All right, I got it. Ling Shan said, smiling happily. Chapter 13:11. Free spokesperson. However, less than 15 minutes after Lin Yi hung up, his phone rang again. Lin Yi thought it was Ling Shan, so he picked it up without looking. Little girl, what's up? Little girl? The person on the other side of the phone paused. Ha! Lin Yi could tell that it wasn't Ling Shan's voice too. You are. I'm not little girl. I'm Su Shirhan. Shirhan was speechless. Why was this guy so vulgar? Calling someone little girl just because he picked up the phone? If she didn't know Lin Yi's personality, she would have thought he was a pervert. Oh, that's little girl too. Little girl Su, what's up? Lin Yi said casually, not expecting Shirhan to call him. Su Shirhan was speechless. But whatever, so be it. She really was a little girl, wasn't she? Shirhan didn't care about the title. You said you'd help me make some headache medicine? I'm free today, so I'll go get it and take a picture with your friends? Shirhan's concert in Songshan had ended, and she was preparing to go to another city to continue her concert. So before she left, she wanted to say goodbye to Lin Yi and get some headache medicine. These few days, Shirhan's manager Wang Sis had contacted Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company and told them that Shirhan was going to be a free spokesperson. Fatty Lai was confused at first. A superstar that couldn't be hired even with money. Why did she want to be a spokesperson for free? And so, Fatty Lai suspected Wang Sis's identity. Was she a scammer? But after Wang Sis's explanation, Fatty Lai realized that Shirhan was Lin Yi's patient. Wang Sis didn't hide Su Shirhan's illness from Fatty Lai. Lin Yi and Xu Amin both knew about it, so there was no need to hide it from Fatty Lai. Fatty Lai finally understood. It was because of this. So, Fatty Lai didn't feel like he owed Su Shirhan anything by letting her be the spokesperson for free. How much could the endorsement fee be? One had to know that when Lin Yi treated patients with difficult-to-treat diseases, he would charge at least 10 million yuan. And so, Fatty Lai called Su Shirhan over and ordered her around, shooting promotional videos, shooting as many as he could. He even changed the packaging of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine to a new one, with Su Shirhan's picture on it. They even added a slogan. Do you want to have the flawless skin of a superstar? Please use Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine to heal the wound perfectly without leaving a scar. Even Wang Sis couldn't stand it anymore. Since when did Su Shirhan get ordered around like a servant? Even with such a high endorsement fee, they didn't shoot so many commercials and films. Wasn't this treating people too lightly? But Su Shirhan smiled and shook her head, indicating that it was nothing. Su Shirhan felt that since Lin Yi treated her as a friend and treated her for free, she should return the favor. Since they were friends, there was no need to be calculative. And Su Shirhan felt that the people around Lin Yi were the same as him. They didn't treat superstars as anything. She was pretty and cute, but this Fatty Lai acted like he didn't see her at all, talking to her with his eyes rolling around, thinking of ways to squeeze all of her value out of her. Of course, what Su Shirhan didn't know was that Fatty Lai had already treated her as Lin Yi's spare tire. Who knew when she would become his official girlfriend? Fatty Lai wouldn't have any thoughts about his sister-in-law. But, Miracle Dr. Guan's painkiller hadn't been mass-produced yet. There were only a few samples in the company. If Su Shirhan wanted it, she would have to get it from Lin Yi. Today? That's good. Lin Yi didn't have anything to do. I bought a bunch of seafood from the restaurant. Come eat with us. Seafood? Su Shirhan froze, but she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Okay, tell me the address. I'll go there now. The address is Seaview Villa Bay. Lin Yi told Su Shirhan the address. If you can't find it, use the GPS. Okay, wait for me. It was rare for Su Shirhan to have a friend, and they didn't have any ulterior motives. This made Su Shirhan feel at ease playing with them. Otherwise, it would be hard for Su Shirhan to have a close friend. Most women approached her because of her aura, while men approached her because they wanted dirty things. But Lin Yi and Xiaoxiao were different. Both of them were nice, and after interacting with Fatty Lai, Su Shirhan realized that Lin Yi's friends were nice as well. The friends Lin Yi wanted to take photos with were probably nice too. Otherwise, with Lin Yi's arrogant personality, it would be hard for him to accept others. After hanging up, Xiaoxiao asked impatiently, Lin Yi honey, is Su Shirhan coming? Yeah. She'll come to get the medicine later. You guys can play together. Lin Yi seemed to think that Su Shirhan coming to his house was a normal thing. If it were someone else, they'd be excited when a celebrity came to their house. That's great. Then we'll sing karaoke at home and let Su Shirhan sing for us. Xiaoxiao said excitedly. I'll call Tang Yun sis right now. We'll go get her. Lin Yi wasn't a fan, so he didn't understand how Su Shirhan's fans felt. Xiaoxiao told the exciting news to Meng Yao and Yushu as soon as they got home. Tang Yun was happy too, but she wasn't as lively as Xiaoxiao. She only smiled and greeted Meng Yao and Yushu. Tang Yun had become a regular in the villa, and she didn't feel restricted here. Then should we prepare some food for Su Shirhan tonight? Meng Yao was the owner of the villa. She couldn't neglect a guest. What's more, this guest was a superstar. Don't bother, I brought back a bunch of seafood. Lin Yi raised the big bag of food in his hand. I bought it from Tyrant Fish Seafood Restaurant. There was an idiot who treated us today. Idiot? Meng Yao was confused. An idiot who wants to chase after Tang Yun, Lin Yi explained simply, but Lin Yi was too lazy to say anything about Zhao Fafa. Su Shihan came as soon as she said she would. Lin Yi and the others were talking when the doorbell rang. Evidently, Su Shihan was ready to leave after the call. They weren't familiar with the roads, but Lin Yi had to go get Tang Yun for a while. Chapter 13:12. Chapter 13:10. Sadness. Su Shihan didn't wear much this time, probably because she came straight to Lin Yi's place and didn't go anywhere else, so she didn't need to wear anything. Han, you're so pretty today. Xiao was quite familiar with Su Shihan by now. You're pretty too. Su Shihan smiled. Don't just stand there, come in. The group welcomed Su Shihan in, and Xiao introduced Yushu, Tang Yun, and Meng Yao to Su Shihan. They're all my good friends, like bosom friends. Of course, Xiao didn't tell them that Tang Yun was Lin Yi's boyfriend. There was no need to tell an outsider about this sort of thing. For now, Tang Yun's identity was just Lin Yi's good friend. Otherwise, it'd be too complicated. Lin Yi nodded to Su Shihan and took out a bag of painkillers. Here, this should last you a while. I just got here and you're giving it to me? You're not kicking me out, are you? Su Shihan took the medicine and joked. I'm just afraid I'll forget. Lin Yi said faintly. There's takeaway food in the kitchen. Go eat if you're hungry. If there's nothing else, you guys have fun. I'm going back to my room. Lin Yi didn't want to join in the fun with Su Shihan. With a celebrity girl, Lin Yi couldn't think of anything to do with her. Xiao and the others could ask about Su Shihan's privacy, but Lin Yi wasn't interested at all. In Lin Yi's eyes, Su Shihan was no different from a stranger. Who would be interested in a stranger's privacy? Su Shihan looked at Lin Yi's nonchalant face and couldn't help but roll her eyes. She didn't feel like a celebrity at all here. But it was precisely because of this that Su Shihan didn't have her usual nervousness and vigilance. It was like she was home, she could relax. As for Meng Yao, Tang Yun, and Yushu's questions, Su Shihan basically answered all of them. After all, Su Shihan didn't have anything to hide. Other than a headache, it wasn't a big deal. Xiaohan, do you have a boyfriend? Missy also became a little gossipy. After all, these were the things that the fans were most concerned about. Su Shihan's boyfriend, on the other hand, was the focus of the media. Some fans had tried to match him up, but it was proven that it was just a misunderstanding. Su Shihan had always been single. But, even if she was single, a lot of fans didn't believe it. They all thought that there was an invisible boyfriend behind Su Shihan. It was just that no one noticed. Not yet, hee. I'm really not lying, I'm not lying. Shihan smiled. She knew that they would ask these questions. So you're still a virgin? Yushu's questions were always powerful. Yes. Su Shihan blushed and sighed. Lin Yi's friends were really not ordinary people. Oh, so you really are a pure and innocent girl. Yushu liked Su Shihan even more. Lin Yi listened to the girl's gossipy questions. He couldn't help but shake his head and went back to his room. At night, other than the seafood that Lin Yi brought back from the restaurant, Lin Yi cooked a few more dishes. Although a bunch of seafood was enough, Su Shihan was still a guest. Lin Yi didn't want the Missy and the others to lose face. Su Shihan ate the dishes Lin Yi cooked. She was amazed. She never thought that Lin Yi could cook. And it was so delicious. He was even more professional than her housekeeper. Your cooking is really good. It seems like your friend is lucky. Su Shihan praised. Han, if you like it, come here more often. You're always welcome here. Meng Yao was the owner of the villa. It was a good time to speak. I want to too, Yao, but I won't be staying in Songshan for long. I'll be leaving soon. Shihan said regretfully. But if I'm free, I'll come and play with you guys. It's fun to be with you guys. There's no pressure. That's great. You'll come more often. Yushu said happily. Man, yeah, you have to come or else I'll die. Xiao said pitifully. Don't say that. Your boyfriend's medical skills are so good. He'll definitely find a way. Shihan said. I hope so. Xiao sighed. All right, let's not talk about this. Let's eat. Lin Yi didn't want to continue on this topic. Just thinking about it gave him a headache. He didn't have a good solution, either. He could only take it one step at a time. After dinner, under Yushu's suggestion, the group started singing karaoke. The Miss House's sound system wasn't inferior to a KTV, and the house was decorated with the highest quality appliances. Su Shirhan adjusted the sound and was very satisfied with it. At first, Su Shirhan sang for everyone, but later on, everyone took turns to sing. What surprised Su Shirhan was that everyone's voice was pretty good, not inferior to her own. With a little training, they would have the potential to become stars. Lin Yi sat on the sofa and listened to the girls singing. It was a very warm feeling. This kind of comfortable life was something Lin Yi didn't dare to imagine before. If he thought about this day, Lin Yi wouldn't have rejected Ning, which caused Lin Yi to brood over it until now. But he missed it. Some things couldn't go back to the past. Plus, the relationship between Lin Yi and House Yu was very tense. Were the hidden House Yu and House Yu on the same side? But no matter what, Lin Yi knew that it was impossible for him to marry Ning right now. The requirements to enter the hidden House Yu were very high, and they had high hopes for Ning. They raised her as a member of House Yu. How could normal people enter House Yu's eyes? Lin Yi was only a golden class, and now he was only a mystic. House Yu, on the other hand, had a sky class. This was also the reason why Lin Yi felt inferior. Not only could he not give Yu Ning a stable life, but he also couldn't fight against House Yu. Thinking about the past, Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh. But, thinking about the life he had now, with Tang Yun by his side and Xiao as a happy person, Lin Yi didn't regret it. No matter what happened, Tang Yun wouldn't leave him. This was the person who would accompany him for life. A sad song pulled Lin Yi back from his thoughts. It was a classic song, and Xiao was slowly singing it out of her mouth. Chapter 13:13. Don't cry, my most loved one. Lin Yi raised his head and looked at Xiao. The atmosphere in the living room quietened down as well. Everyone's emotions were affected by Xiao. Don't cry, my most loved one. Tonight, I'm like a flower blooming, falling in the most beautiful moment. Your tears can't bring me back. Don't cry, my most loved one, I'll never wake up. Blinking in the most beautiful night. My eyes are the brightest stars. Do you remember when I said proudly, I've been to this world before, don't tell me what eternity is, I'll die in the most beautiful moment. This song was called Don't Cry, My Most Loved One, and the lyrics were very similar to Xiao's current situation. This was Xiao's favorite song, but she rarely sang it in front of people. Now, everyone in the room was her friends, and they all knew about her body's condition. This song was actually for them all. Do you remember when I said proudly, I've been to this world before, don't tell me what maturity is, I'll die in the moment it starts. Everyone was affected by Xiao's emotions and started humming along. Xiao's face was full of smiles, but her tears couldn't help but flow down her cheeks. She knew that she was definitely going to die this time. Lin Yi kept telling her that he'd think of something, but it wasn't that easy to think of something. If there really was a way, her mother wouldn't have died. These days, Xiao didn't show it, but it was obvious that her body wasn't as good as before. Every night, she'd be woken up by a chill, but it was summer right now. Xiao knew that it was the cold energy in her body being released during her sleep, and so she knew that she didn't have much time left. It should be in the next few days. Today, Xiao was using this song as her last words to tell everyone she loved. The people in this room were all people she cared about, including Shirhan, who she'd just met. They'd only known each other for a short while, but it felt like they'd known each other for a long time. The Miss, Tang Yun, and Shu's eyes were all wet. Shirhan's eyes were red as well. If someone else were to sing this song, it wouldn't be a big deal, but Xiao was singing it, and everyone could understand the meaning behind it. Although Lin Yi did not cry, his heart was still very heavy. He wondered if there was any news from the old man. Who was that medical sage? Would he be able to find his medical notes? After the song, Xiao wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and smiled at everyone. What's wrong with you guys? Why does it seem so dull? Is it because I don't sing well? How many points can I get? Haha, you sang very well. Tang Yun forced a smile and said. Meng Yao and Yushu laughed and clapped as well, while Shirhan stood up. I was too engrossed in it, didn't I? I think it's even better than me. Haha, really? Looks like I can be a singer too. Xiao said happily. Su Shihan stayed there until late into the night. Only after Wang Jie called her did she reluctantly leave. The next concert would be held in the city tomorrow. It was time to prepare for the next concert. With the painkiller from Lin Yi, Shihan didn't have to worry about anything happening, especially since the painkiller was in the form of medicine. Shihan could put it in a bottle and drink it when she had a headache, as if she was drinking water, and no one would notice. House Kong was in a mess. A piece of news hit them like a bolt from the blue, making Kong Guifeng and Xiaolong's eyes go wide as they stared at the storehouse full of Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine. Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine changed its packaging. The market had all changed to the new packaging with Shihan's picture, and the old version was almost extinct. But there were still mountains of it in House Kang's storehouse. That old bastard, why did he change the packaging for no reason? Isn't this a scam? Kong Guifeng didn't know what to do as he looked at the storehouse full of medicine. Xiaolong thought to himself, "You're right, they're scamming your dad, scamming my grandpa. The most important thing right now is to sell the goods at a low price, even if it's 10 points lower than the market price. We can still sell it when the market is changing its packaging. If we wait any longer, it'll all be gone." Xiaolong sighed. "That's the only way. Should we tell your grandpa about this?" Kong Guifeng asked. "Let's tell him, we can't hide it anyway." But this mistake has given Kong Mingming more credit. One wrong step, all the wrong steps. I made a mistake back then, and it caused such a huge loss. Xiaolong smiled bitterly. Dr. Kong was listening to a storyteller at home when he heard Kong Guifeng's report. He almost fainted from anger. What? They'd already lost 5 points to sell the goods, and now they had to lose 10 points? How much money would that be wasted? Plus, it wasn't just a problem of losing money. If they couldn't sell enough, they'd lose all the medicine they had. You two useless bastards. Dr. Kong was shaking with anger as he pointed at Kong Guifeng and Xiaolong. Look at what you've done. If you'd listened to Zhao Ming earlier, you wouldn't have ended up like this. House Kong was ruined by you. That. Kong Guifeng wanted to say that although they came up with the idea, you were still the one who made the final decision. You agreed with our point of view too. If you'd agreed with Kong Mingming's point of view, this wouldn't have happened, right? But he couldn't say that out loud. If he did, it would make Dr. Kong even angrier. Kong Guifeng could only lower his head and endure the abuse from Dr. Kong. Go get Zhao Ming, you bastards. Dr. Kong was a very vulgar person, cursing whenever he was angry. Fuck your grandma, you little bastards. Kong Guifeng and Kong Mingming were speechless. Kong Guifeng thought, fuck my grandma? Isn't that your mom? If we're little bastards, then aren't you an old bastard? Chapter 13-14. Unlucky Dr. Kong Xiaolong was a scheming man, and as much as he didn't want to admit defeat, he knew that he'd lose more points in a situation where he was at a disadvantage. After a few fruitless attempts at shirking responsibility, Xiaolong began to adjust his situation. Temporary tolerance was for the sake of becoming stronger and more powerful in the future. Kong Mingming called it a search for the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but he was actually going out to have fun and pick up girls. The recipe wasn't that easy to find, after all. He didn't have any leads on it yet, so he used this as an excuse to have some fun. When he got the call from Xiaolong saying that something big had happened at home, Kong Mingming didn't dare tarry and rushed back from the dinner table. He didn't get along with Xiaolong, but he still had to rush back to House Kong. Kong Mingming was a spoiled brat, but he wasn't an idiot. If House Kong were to be destroyed, how could he, Kong Mingming, live a good life? But when Kong Mingming got back to House Kong and found out what had happened, he let out a sigh of relief. He'd thought that it was something big, and that they'd lost some money, but it wasn't a devastating blow to House Kong. Plus, Kong Ming was secretly happy. This was all Xiaolong's doing, and now he'd disappointed his grandpa more and more. The future head of House Kong was going to be him. Kong Mingming. Kong Mingming could even imagine the amazing life he'd been living. After becoming the head of House Kong, he'd had women on his left and right, eating, drinking, and having fun. No one could control him, but he could control others. It was the life of an immortal. But on the surface, Kong Mingming still spoke with pain. This is a big deal. But what's done is done, and now's not the time to look into it. Uncle and brother didn't do it on purpose, and they didn't want this to happen. Fortunately, we only lost some money, and there were no other big problems. Otherwise, our Kong family would not be able to bear the torment. Although Kong Mingming said that he wouldn't pursue the matter, it was obvious that he was blaming Kong Guifeng and Kong Xiaolong for this. Zhao Ming, House Kong will accept the loss, but now that Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine is selling so well, it severely affected the sales of our Dr. Kang's golden creation. Those pharmacies that used to beg us to supply them all seem to have disappeared, and they don't even ask for our medicine anymore. Dr. Kong smiled bitterly. I'm afraid that the medical market will soon belong to Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. Fortunately, they still had the support of the military orders, but how long could they last? I'm afraid that Guan Shuamin will snatch this order away from us. If that happens, the Kong family will be facing a life-and-death crisis. Dr. Kang's words were serious, but if House Kong continued to develop like this, it might really become a reality. Xiaolong, Kong Ming, and Kong Guifeng all had worried expressions on their faces. As the saying goes, when the nest is overturned, no eggs remain intact. If House Kong were to collapse, they wouldn't be able to fight for the position of head of the house. So at this moment, the three of them let go of their competitive mentality and lowered their heads with a heavy heart. The reason I called you here is to discuss what our Kong family should do. How should we deal with it? House Kang's future isn't looking good. Dr. Kong sighed. What do you think we should do? Kong Guifeng and Xiaolong looked at each other. They didn't have any good ideas. House Kang's foundation was too weak. They only had the formula for golden creation, and they didn't have any other special effects medicine. If this product was replaced by someone else, then House Kong would have no more products to rely on. House Kang's medicine factory also produced common medicines for headaches and colds, but those were all common formulations. There were too many manufacturers, and it wasn't easy to do business. In the past, with Dr. Kang's golden creation's reputation, these medicines could be sold, but now that Dr. Kang's golden creation wasn't doing so well, the sales of these medicines were no different from those of a small medicine factory. They wouldn't starve to death, but it was impossible for House Kong to be as prosperous as it was now. They could only become a normal house, let alone become a noble house. Grandpa, I feel like this is still up to me. I feel that I have a great responsibility. If I can get the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, then everything will be solved. Kong Mingming said after some thought. In fact, he didn't know what else to say. That's right. Zhao Ming is right. How about it? Are you confident? Dr. Kong nodded in satisfaction. I've been drinking with friends these past few days, trying to get to know them better. This can't be rushed. We can only wait and see. After all, the formula is a secret, and it'll be hard to get it through normal means. Kong Mingming said. That's true. Keep it up. Dr. Kong said. From today onwards, you can use all the resources of House Kong, but you must give it your all to find the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. No problem. I understand. Kong Mingming nodded. Kong Mingming was overjoyed when he heard this decision. Did this mean that he was starting to exercise his authority as the young head of the house? Haha. He was about to become the young head of the house? Dr. Kang's words made Xiaolong's heart sink. Even though he'd been chosen as the heir by his grandfather, he hadn't given him this many resources. But now Xiaolong was angry, but he couldn't refute it. His only hope now was that Kong Mingming messed this up and couldn't get the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. But if he couldn't get the formula, then House Kong would be done for. With House Kang's current situation, if they didn't have a powerful formula, then House Kong would never be able to recover. And so Xiaolong was conflicted. On one hand, he hoped that Kong Mingming would fail, but on the other hand, he didn't want him to fail. If Kong Mingming failed, then what was the point of becoming the head of House Kong? It was just a small house. There was no sense of achievement at all. But if Kong Mingming succeeded, then Kong Mingming would be the head of House Kong. How could he let Kong Mingming get the formula, but not become the head of House Kong? Xiaolong started thinking in his mind. He had to find a way that would satisfy both sides. Chapter 13:15. Kong Mingming may be a spoiled brat, but he wasn't an idiot. Normal people wouldn't know such an important recipe. It was a business secret, even more serious than a top secret. If this recipe were to be leaked, it would shock all the noble houses. Although Kong Xiaoming agreed with full confidence, it was a bit difficult to actually execute the plan. He was very clear about his own capabilities. He used the old method of bribing Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's vice president, Kong Xiaobo, to get the golden creation medicine's formula. But this method wouldn't work on Guan Shuamin. There was no way Guan Shuamin would give the recipe to him. Wouldn't he be an idiot then? So Kong Ming had to use other methods. But for someone like Shuamin, unless he was willing, there was no way he would just hand over the recipe. If he managed to get Guan Xian, he could order her to steal the recipe. Kong Ming was confident. From Kong Ming's point of view, women in love were blind and stupid. Wasn't Xiaofan the same? But Guan Xian was already engaged since she was young, and Kong Ming had no chance at all. Guan Xian was a girl who was already engaged. It was impossible for her to interact with other men before marriage. This made Kong Ming feel helpless. He couldn't get his hands on Guan Xian or Guan Shuamin. It was a little worrying. Kong Xiaoming was worried, but he didn't show it. He quietly left House Kong and went to find Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubin to discuss a solution. Zhao Long, on the other hand, watched Kong Ming's back as he left. He had to do something. Kong Ming had to succeed in finding the recipe, but how could he let him give up the position of head of the house after he succeeded? This was a difficult problem. Zhao Long fell into deep thought. After finding out the exact location of the arena, Ling Shan gathered a large number of police officers and surrounded the arena without anyone noticing. But, as secretive as Ling Shan's movements were, the underground arena's defenses were still very tight. Ever since Air Gooden caused a scene in the arena, Jiang Wen was a little scared. If he let someone like that come a few more times, then there'd be no point in opening the arena anymore. They'd all be killed. And so, Jiang Wen had Scorpion's men pretend to be passers-by and set up traps at the main roads of the arena. Naturally, the traps would alert Scorpion the moment the police cars arrived. Young Master One, it's not good. There's a large number of police heading towards the underground arena. Scorpion was shocked when he heard the report from his underlings. What? The police are here? Jiang Wen was shocked. Seriously? How did the police find this place? I don't know, maybe someone leaked the information. Scorpion was troubled as well. He knew that this day would come, but wasn't it a little too fast? His mission was to be the scapegoat for Jiang Wen's crimes. He'd take responsibility for all the crimes that happened in the arena. As for his family, everything had already been arranged, so Scorpion was mentally prepared. It was just that he hadn't had enough yet. But now, even if he didn't want to, he had to stand out. He knew how cruel the firewolves were. If he were to hand Jiang Wen over, then his family would be attacked severely by the firewolves. So, he had to take on all the crimes himself. Of course, in the arena, only Scorpion, the professor, and the dead fighter Li knew Jiang Wen's identity. No one else had seen Jiang Wen before, and they didn't even know of his existence. Because of this, it was easy for Jiang Wen to get away with it. Scorpion, I'll leave the rest to you. I'll leave with the professor first. Jiang Wen sighed and decided to give up. He'd earned quite a bit of money from the underground arena recently, and it was enough. He had to let go when it was time. Don't worry, Master One, I know what to do. Scorpion gritted his teeth. Master One, you and the professor should escape. But at this time, Xiao Luozi's phone rang again. Xiao Luozi didn't dare to delay and quickly picked it up. But after listening to the caller's words, his face changed. What's wrong? Jiang Wen's face didn't look right. Master One, it's bad. The police have surrounded the arena. I'm afraid you and the professor won't be able to escape. Scorpion said. We can only activate the second plan. Okay, we need to hurry. Jiang Wen nodded and said decisively. While the police haven't barged in, we'll apply for a break in the middle of the fight and substitute the professor and me. Ling Shan arranged all the police forces and made sure that the people in the arena couldn't escape. She immediately ordered. Lu Wangli, bring a squad with me to arrest the suspect. Yes, Captain Song. Captain Song. Wang Li immediately brought his men and followed behind Ling Shan. The door of the casino opened abruptly, and Ling Shan brought a group of police officers into the arena. Of course, what Ling Shan didn't know was that there were thugs patrolling the arena's entrance, but in order to not arouse Ling Shan's suspicions, Scorpion ordered the thugs to leave the place quietly. Otherwise, Ling Shan wouldn't have wasted the time to arrange the police force if she'd seen someone guarding the door. She'd have gone straight into the arena and grabbed the thugs at the door, giving Jiangwen and the professor no time to set up their plans. Don't move, we're the police. Spectators, don't move. Stay in your seats, don't try to escape or resist. Ling Shan rushed in and used the megaphone to speak to the spectators. The spectators jumped when they saw the police rush into the arena. Some of them, naturally, wanted to run away, but after hearing Ling Shan's words and seeing the armed police behind her, they immediately gave up on the idea of running away. After all, they were just spectators, here to watch the fight and gamble. This arena had nothing to do with them, so the punishment wouldn't be too severe. They sat down obediently. Chapter 13:16. Officer Song, it's me. You're finally here. Help me out. I don't want to fight. They forced me to fight. The green-masked boxer suddenly shouted. He waved his hands and shouted for help in the ring. Help, Officer Song. This sudden turn of events startled Ling Shan. How did this boxer know her? After the green-masked boxer finished, the white-masked boxer opposite him started yelling as well. Ah? Is the police here? That was great. Help me too. I'm regretting it. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want the money anymore. I want my life. You guys take care of the audience, and notify Team 2 to come in. Search for the organizer. I'll go take a look at these two boxers. Ling Shan felt that the green-masked boxer's voice was very familiar. All right, Captain Song. Lu Wangli nodded. During the analysis of the case, everyone had come to the same conclusion. The underground arena used illegal methods such as seduction, kidnapping, and other methods to get people to fight, so the two boxers in the ring should be victims as well. They weren't dangerous, and Lu Wangli wasn't worried about Ling Shan getting into trouble alone. Plus, Ling Shan was a golden-class late-phase peak. There was nothing to be afraid of. Ling Shan walked up and looked at the two boxers in the ring. May I ask who you are? Why are you fighting here? Officer Song, it's me. The green-masked boxer pulled off his mask, revealing his face. It was Jiangwen. Jiangwen's face was on the verge of tears. I'm Jiangwen. Jiangwen? Why are you here? Why did you come here? Ling Shan, naturally, was familiar with Jiangwen. He was one of the victims of the kidney trafficking company. But why was he here? How could he be so miserable? I went to the hospital to get my kidneys checked, and someone told me that he knew a folk doctor who could cure my kidneys and restore my manhood, so I came. Jiangwen said with a pained face. Only when I got here did I realize that I'd been tricked. They gave me a stimulant shot and told me to fight on the stage, telling me that if I didn't want to die, I'd be beaten to death. Fuck, I was scared to death. Ling Shan looked at Jiangwen sympathetic. Why was this guy so unlucky? How could he be arrested for looking at a kidney? Ling Shan's face darkened when he said things like, weak kidneys and masculinity. Okay, it's fine now. Come with me to the police station to make a statement. Ling Shan, on the other hand, didn't doubt Jiangwen's words. After all, Jiangwen was a fighter, and he stood in the ring. From what she knew, a young master like Jiangwen wouldn't fight in the ring no matter how much money was offered. It was a joke with his life. Me, officer, I was tricked here. A blonde told me that he'd give me 200,000 if I did some bodybuilding, but I didn't expect it to be a fighter. I'm not fighting anymore. I'll lose my life if I keep fighting. The person speaking was the white-masked man, who was actually the professor. He and Jiangwen went on the stage to replace the two fighters, and since the police had rushed into the arena, the audience didn't realize that the fighters had been replaced. Of course, they weren't paying attention to it. They couldn't even protect themselves, so how could they have the time to study the people on the stage? Plus, the people on the stage were all wearing masks, and they were so far away. No one could tell if the fighters had been replaced or not. Jiangwen and the professor made use of this to put on a good show of escaping on the stage like a cicada slipping out of its shell. Okay, you'll come with me to the police station to make a statement. Ling Shan nodded. Jiangwen and the professor sighed in relief after hearing Ling Shan's words, but it wasn't Ling Shan's fault. In the entire arena, other than the dead fighter Li, only Scorpion knew about Jiangwen and the professor's identities. Scorpion, however, wouldn't tell anyone about it. At this moment, Scorpion was brought out without any resistance. His face was very calm, as this moment would come sooner or later. The underground arena was completely destroyed in one night. In the interrogation room, little Scorpion didn't resist at all. He confessed all the crimes he committed. As for the whereabouts of the underground arena's funds, Little Scorpion revealed an international gang. This gang was the Fire Wolf Gang's enemy, so Little Scorpion didn't mind using this opportunity to create some trouble for them. Of course, the Fire Wolves had already taken care of the details, and they couldn't find any problems with the bank accounts. For a large criminal organization like the Fire Wolf Gang, it was easy to create this kind of fake evidence. It was not difficult at all. So, even if Ling Shan and the others did a thorough investigation, they wouldn't be able to link it to Jianghu, the professor, or even the Fire Wolves. The destruction of the underground boxing arena had no effect on most people. Only those who had gambled in the underground boxing arena had received varying degrees of punishment. Life went on, but Xiaoxiao was getting lazier and lazier. She couldn't seem to wake up, and she didn't want to go to school either. She stayed at home and didn't want to go out. She turned on the heater in her bedroom, covered in a thick blanket, and sneezed non-stop. Lin Yi, the Miss, Shu and Tang Yun were all worried, but there was nothing they could do. The cold energy in Xiaoxiao's body was getting stronger and stronger, invading her entire body. That was why she felt so cold on a hot day like this. Knowing that she didn't have much time left, Lin Yi, the Miss, Shu, and Tang Yun all stopped going to school. They stayed in the villa to spend the last years of her life with Xiaoxiao. They'd finished their high school courses a long time ago, and it was revision time now. With the Miss, Shu, and Tang Yun's self-learning abilities, it wouldn't be a problem even if they didn't go to school. The three of them had their own specialties, and they could complement each other. Xiaoxiao, what are you doing? Tang Yun looked curiously at Xiaoxiao fiddling with the yarn. I want to knit a sweater for Shield Bro, Xiaoxiao said. I want to leave something for him as a souvenir, but I don't think I can last that long. I'll die before I finish, so I think I should knit a scarf. But I'm afraid I won't be able to finish it. Chapter 13:17. It's fine. I'll do it myself. Xiaoxiao shook her head, rejecting Yushu for the first time. This was her gift to Lin Yi, and she didn't want anyone else's help. How stingy. Yushu wasn't too happy about the rejection. BSP. Shu, stop messing around. Xiaoxiao's right. Let her do it herself. Only the things she weaves with her own hands have meaning. If you want to, you can weave one yourself. Meng Yao said. Oh. Yushu nodded and didn't say anything else. Lin Yi sat on the side, feeling down. This was the first time Lin Yi felt so helpless. Before, no matter what happened, Lin Yi would always think of a way to solve it. But now, he couldn't think of anything. Just when Lin Yi was at his wit's end, old Lin's call finally came. Old man, you finally called. Lin Yi was excited. Lin Yi's only hope was on old Lin, that ancient medicine saint you mentioned last time. Is there any news? I did, but it's bad news. Old man Lin sighed and said, don't be too sad when I say it. I found it, but why is it still bad news? Could it be that the fire spirit's fruit doesn't exist? Lin Yi paused and asked worriedly. Whether it exists or not, I can't say for sure, but I've never seen it before. Old Lin said, this ancient medicine saint is called Zhang. I've confirmed that it's him, but his medical notes weren't passed down to the world. It said that he brought it to his grave, so this trail ends here. What? Zhang? Lin Yi heard the words and gasped. You're saying that his medical notes might be in his grave? Yes, why are you so excited? Old Lin didn't understand. Of course I'm excited. Lin Yi laughed heartily. He wasn't unfamiliar with the name Zhang. He'd heard it more than once from Wuxia and Lingshan. The tomb Lingshan was going to. Wasn't it the holy Dr. Zhang's tomb? According to old Lin's deduction, Zhang Liju's medical notes hadn't been passed down to the world, which meant that it was most likely in his grave. In ancient times, people had the mindset that the teacher would starve to death if the student was taught. Even the kindest person would have this sort of concern, and so a lot of knowledge and culture was lost. So, if this Zhang Liju had the medical notes, then it was possible that it was in his tomb. You know this Zhang Liju too? Old Lin could sense something from Lin Yi's craziness. Yes, and not only that, I also know where his tomb is. Lin Yi didn't expect that things would suddenly take a turn for the better. It was a complete coincidence that he had lent a helping hand, but it had led to this opportunity. Are you for real? Old Lin was in disbelief. Of course, it's actually a bit of a coincidence. It's like this. Lin Yi told old Lin about how he saved Wuxia. I didn't think that you would have this kind of opportunity. Perhaps, the heavens don't want Xiao to have such a tragic life. Old Lin sighed. But you need to be prepared. Let's not talk about whether or not there's medical notes in Zhang Liju's grave. Even if the medical notes really exist, you might not be able to find something as legendary as the fire spirit's fruit. Oh? What do you mean? Lin Yi frowned. Old Lin's words were like a bucket of cold water splashing down on him. Lin Yi calmed down instantly, and he wasn't as excited as before. Yeah, it was hard to say if the medical notes existed or not. What was there to be happy about? First of all, it's hard to say if the notes would mention where the fire spirit's fruit grows. Old Lin explained. Secondly, even if it did, how many years has it been since Zhang Liju died? Whether or not the fire spirit's fruit exists is another matter altogether. It's better than nothing. As long as there's hope, I'll work hard. No matter what, I'll try. Lin Yi said firmly. Haha, too much hope comes with too much disappointment. You need to have a normal heart. Old Lin said, You're slowly losing your normal heart, haven't you noticed? You're changing completely. You're becoming more sentimental. Is that so? Lin Yi paused. Perhaps, but this is good too. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just worried that you won't be able to get over it. Old Lin said, I'm relying on you for my retirement. Don't die from depression, you'll die before me. Don't worry. I'll let you die first. Lin Yi smiled. Zhang Liju went through a lot of trouble looking for this fruit back then, but according to the records, he had a natural sense of smell that allowed him to find a high-level herb in the vast wasteland. Old Lin said, Of course I don't really believe it. Maybe he had something to rely on. That's right, Lin Yi nodded. Of course I don't really believe it. Maybe he had something to rely on. You're saying that he has a magical item that can find herbs? Like my jade pendant? Lin Yi reacted quickly. He understood what old Lin meant right away. Perhaps, so you really need to go to Zhang Liju's grave and pay attention. Old Lin said. I understand. Lin Yi nodded. If not for anything else, he had to pay attention to this magical item in order to find the fire spirit's fruit for Xiao. After ending the call with old Lin, Lin Yi took a deep breath and called Lingshan. Lin Yi. Lingshan was a bit surprised. Lin Yi usually wouldn't call her on his own. You're looking for me? Yeah. When are you planning on going? Lin Yi asked. Grave robbing? Lingshan paused. You mean catching the grave robbers? Yes. Lin Yi nodded. This month, Lingshan said. I've already disguised myself as a member of the couple, and I've been in contact with the other grave robbers. I'll go too. Lin Yi said. I agree to your suggestion. Really? That's great. Lingshan was overjoyed. If Lin Yi joined, then their chances would be even higher. She was already a golden class late phase peak, but the other grave robbers were full of hidden dragons as well. She wouldn't be able to handle them if they had masters. Chapter 13:18. Sure, but I can't give you the original. Lingshan had her principles. Lingshan had her own principles. She might have a good relationship with Lin Yi, but she couldn't change her principles. I don't need the original. Lin Yi just wanted to look at his medical notebooks. Original or not wasn't of any use to him. After confirming this, Lin Yi didn't tell Xiao and the others. After all, there was no progress yet. Just like old Lin said, the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. It was better to wait until there was a result. What Lin Yi was afraid of the most was that even if the fire spirit's fruit was recorded in the medical notes, it wouldn't be easy to find. And so these days, Lin Yi started studying the map Wuxia gave him. This grave-robbing mission was very important to Lin Yi, and he couldn't afford to be careless. He had to succeed. 3 days later, Lin Yi was studying the map in his room when a scream came from outside. The door was pushed open and Yushu rushed in. Shield bro, quick! Xiao fainted again. Go save her. Lin Yi was shocked. He quickly put down the map and ran upstairs with Yushu. Why did Xiao faint? I don't know. She said she was cold and wanted to take a hot shower. We didn't think much of it, but it's been an hour since Xiao went into the bathroom. We got worried and went to check, only to find her unconscious in the bathtub. Yushu said with a sigh. Lin Yi nodded. He had foreseen this situation a long time ago. Xiaoxiao's illness would act up in the next few days. Even if it didn't act up today, it would happen tomorrow or the day after. But his heart was still heavy at the moment. Right, Xiaoxiao isn't wearing any clothes. Shield bro, you can do something to her. Yushu said suddenly. Ha! Lin Yi smiled bitterly and didn't say anything. Shu looked like an idiot, but Lin Yi knew that she was joking after seeing his heavy expression. Lin Yi walked into the bathroom quickly and saw Xiaoxiao in the bathtub. Tang Yun and Meng Yao were worried as well, but they couldn't do anything. They didn't dare move Xiaoxiao. Lin Yi didn't say much and carried Xiaoxiao into the bedroom, putting her on the bed. He then bit his wrist and let the blood flow onto Xiaoxiao's body. You need to be prepared. This situation isn't looking good. Zhao Yazi's voice sounded in Lin Yi's ear. Oh. Zhao Lao, what's going on? Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat when he heard Zhao Yazi's voice. This situation is more serious than I thought. The cold energy has entered every corner of her body, and it's too strong. I can feel it, Zhao Yazi said. Lin Yi's heart sank. Then this time. Give it a try but don't force it. Don't die from blood loss before you can save her. Zhao Yazi sighed. Lin Yi nodded and let his blood flow onto Xiaoxiao's body. Time passed, but Xiaoxiao didn't look any better today. On the other hand, Lin Yi's face was getting paler and paler. There was a limit to the amount of blood in a human body. If a normal person lost more than 15% of their blood, they'd go into shock, and 30% would be life-threatening. But Lin Yi's body was stronger than a normal person's, and he was losing more than 50% of his body's blood. A normal person would have died a long time ago. You can't do this anymore. If you keep bleeding, you'll be in trouble. Even if the art of dragon mastery can heal you, it'll still be dangerous. You're losing too much blood, and I'm afraid you'll just die. Zhao Yazi warned. Lin Yi shook his head. He didn't stop. Xiaoxiao wasn't getting any better, so he couldn't stop. This was his last chance. If Lin Yi gave up, that meant that Xiaoxiao would never wake up again. And so, Lin Yi channeled the art of dragon mastery, using it to quickly replenish his energy, allowing his body to continue producing blood. But the time needed to produce blood wasn't enough to keep up with the rapid blood loss. Even with the replenishment of energy, it didn't help. Even someone as strong as Lin Yi was starting to feel dizzy. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Lin Yi reminded himself that he had to hold on until the end. This was his last hope. If Xiaoxiao didn't wake up, then even if he found Zhang Liju's medical notes and the fire spirit's fruit, what use would it be? He couldn't give up, he couldn't. Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu watched as Lin Yi's face grew paler and paler. They were worried for him, but they couldn't say anything to disturb him. They could only pray for Lin Yi and Xiaoxiao. Do you still want to continue? Have you ever thought that you might die? Zhao Yazi was panicking. Lin Yi was basically committing suicide. Zhao Lao, don't try to talk me out of it. I know what I'm doing. Even if it's dangerous, I have to keep doing it. I have no other choice. Lin Yi said to Zhao Yazi in his mind, Zhao Lao, there's no way out for me. If I give up, then it'll be useless even if I get the fruit. Man. Zhao Yazi sighed and shut his mouth, not saying anything else. Lin Yi looked at Xiaoxiao's face getting blurry, and he couldn't hold on much longer. Was this all fate? He'd worked so hard for so long, fought for so long, and still couldn't escape this day? Lin Yi felt himself getting weaker and weaker, as if he was hallucinating. He thought he saw Xiaoxiao smile again, and heard her sad voice. Remember when I said proudly, I've been to this world before, don't tell me what eternity is, I'll be destroyed in the brightest moment. The next moment, Lin Yi didn't know what was going on anymore. He fainted on the ground. Even a practitioner couldn't handle this much blood loss, and Lin Yi was forced into the jade space. Chapter 13:19. Why aren't you using this time to recover your stamina? What are you doing sitting there like an idiot? Zhao Yazi scolded Lin Yi angrily. Lin Yi froze. Zhao Yazi's words woke him up from his sadness. Yes, there was hope as long as he was alive. He didn't know if Xiaoxiao was dead or alive, but that didn't mean there was no hope. After his body recovered, he could think of a way to save Xiaoxiao. As long as Xiaoxiao wasn't dead by the time he woke up, then there was still a chance. With that thought, Lin Yi said to Zhao Yazi seriously, Zhao Lao, thank you. That sentence of yours was like a wake-up call, calming me down. Don't worry. I'll try my best to recover. Okay, as long as you can think it through, Zhao Yazi nodded. Lin Yi closed his eyes and sat cross-legged, channeling the art of dragon-taking, making his body absorb the energy quickly. Time passed quickly as he cultivated, and Lin Yi, who was forced into the jade space, was in a state of unconsciousness. He couldn't sense what was going on outside, and had to wait until his body recovered to a certain extent before he could re-establish contact with the outside world. Feng Tianlong rushed to the villa after receiving Tang Yun's call. Although they were father and daughter, it wasn't good for Xiaoxiao to be naked. After all, Xiaoxiao was a grown-up now. Therefore, Tang Yun stopped Feng Tianlong at the door of the bedroom. Uncle Feng, please wait a moment. Yao Yao and Shu are helping Xiaoxiao get dressed. She went to take a shower and fainted in the bathroom. Okay. How is Xiaoxiao? This time, can she be saved? Feng Tianlong rushed over as soon as he received the call, but Tang Yun didn't explain clearly on the phone, so he asked anxiously as soon as he entered the room. This time, Tang Yun's expression darkened. To be honest, Tang Yun didn't like Xiaoxiao at first, and she agreed to Feng Tianlong's request because she had no other choice. But now, Tang Yun truly liked Xiaoxiao. She was worried for her, and didn't want her to leave. Tang Yun didn't finish her sentence, but Feng Tianlong understood what she meant. He nodded silently and walked into the bedroom with her. Xiaoxiao was already dressed by Meng Yao and Yushu, and when Tianlong walked in, he saw Lin Yi lying beside Xiaoxiao. He couldn't help but gasp, "Ee-hee." At first, Tianlong thought that Lin Yi was treating Xiaoxiao, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to be lying beside Xiaoxiao. He didn't know if he was asleep, or Lin Yi lost too much blood to save Xiaoxiao, and fainted. Tang Yun sighed. She was worried, but she knew that Lin Yi had strong recovery abilities. She didn't need to worry too much. Then Xiaoxiao. Feng Tianlong's face was very ugly. Lin Yi had lost too much blood, and Xiaoxiao wasn't awake yet. It was obvious what this meant. I don't know yet. She's not awake yet, but although her heartbeat and breathing are weak, but... Tang Yun wanted to say that she wasn't dead, but that didn't sound good, so she didn't say it. She believed that Feng Tianlong would understand. Sigh. Feng Tianlong looked at his daughter on the bed, frowning. Was this day really coming? As expected, they couldn't escape from this curse. Xiaoxiao couldn't hold on, and followed in the footsteps of his wife. Looking at the pale-faced Lin Yi, Feng Tianlong was filled with guilt. He felt that he had wronged him. If it weren't for his request, Lin Yi wouldn't have anything to do with Xiaoxiao, and wouldn't have gotten involved in this. But now, Lin Yi was treating Xiaoxiao as his own responsibility, sparing no effort. Lin Yi not only saved her twice from bad guys, but also pulled her back from the gates of hell. This kind of friendship was hard to come by. Not to mention a fake couple, even a real couple would not be able to do this. Husband and wife were birds in the same forest, but when faced with a disaster, they would fly away separately. This wasn't just a saying, there were too many examples. But Lin Yi was willing to sacrifice his own body for Xiaoxiao. Feng Tianlong didn't know how to repay him. Uncle Feng, what are you doing? Tang Yun quickly stood up and stopped Feng Tianlong. Yeah, Uncle Feng, we're good friends with Xiaoxiao, good sisters. This is nothing. Meng Yao added, ever since Xiaoxiao came to the villa, she's brought a lot of joy to everyone. Yeah, we've formed a troublemaking duo, ready to sweep the universe. Yushu said as well. All right, then I won't be unreasonable. If you're tired, go to sleep first. I'll wait here for Xiaoxiao and Yi to wake up. Feng Tianlong looked at the time. It's already 3 in the morning, I don't want to disturb your rest. It's fine, we're worried about Lin Yi and Xiaoxiao, Tang Yun shook her head. Tang Yun shook her head. The two people she cared about the most were still unconscious. How could she be in the mood to sleep? Meng Yao and Yushu didn't say anything, but it was obvious that they thought the same. Seeing that his daughter had so many good friends, Feng Tianlong was touched again. Lin Yi quickly absorbed the energy in the jade space. In order to wake up sooner, Lin Yi compressed all the energy around him and absorbed it into his body. This way, he could absorb more pure qi in the same amount of time. But when the pure qi was released in his body, it gave Lin Yi immense pain. It was like small energy bombs exploding in his body. Although it was his own energy, it was still very uncomfortable for Lin Yi. But Lin Yi didn't care about that anymore. His only thought was to recover quickly and use his blood to heal Xiao. Seeing Lin Yi's crazy actions, Zhao Yazi didn't stop him. If Lin Yi wanted to suffer, then so be it. As long as it wasn't too dangerous, Zhao Yazi didn't want to interfere. Lin Yi even dared to use energy compression when leveling up, let alone now. Chapter 1320. Lin Yi saw Tianlong and the unconscious Xiao beside him. Zhao Lao, is there still hope? Lin Yi's body had recovered a lot, and he looked a lot better than before. It's hard to say. The severity of the situation has exceeded my expectations. The frost has basically invaded her meridians, and from a normal perspective, there's nothing we can do. Even if you manage to wake her up, it'll only be a day or two. Zhao Yazi said, can you find the fruit in a day or two? I don't think it's possible. Lin Yi took a deep breath. A day or two. Even if it's just a day or two, I have to try. I can't just watch her die. Do what you want. You won't give up until you see the end of the road. Xiao has already developed a resistance to your blood, which means that the Yin frost in her body has reached a certain level, and your blood can't suppress it anymore. Zhao Yazi said. I know, no need to say more. Even a day or two is good enough. Lin Yi said, it's Xiao's birthday soon, and I don't want her to have any regrets. I haven't celebrated her birthday with her yet. Feeling that his body was almost healed, Lin Yi quickly left the jade space and came back to reality. Lin Yi had been using his senses to check on Xiao's condition, and it was good that there was still life, so Lin Yi could rest easy and recover. After waking up, Lin Yi didn't bother talking to Tianlong. He bit his wrist and let the blood flow onto Xiao's body. Ah! Tianlong was relieved to see Lin Yi wake up, but at the same time, he felt lucky. Xiao was in trouble, and if something happened to Lin Yi, how could he live with his conscience? Especially when Lin Yi was Lin Dongfang's disciple. If something happened to him, how would he answer to him? But the first thing Lin Yi did when he woke up was bite his wrist and continue healing Xiao. This made Tianlong's heart ache. He didn't know what to say. Lin Yi really cared about Xiao. Lily, don't force yourself. Life and death are decreed by fate. You've already tried your best. Xiao is already like this. You can't harm your own body like this. Tianlong knew how important blood was to the human body. Although Lin Yi was a practitioner, he was also a practitioner. She'd lost too much blood to the point of fainting, and it was already a miracle that she could wake up without blood transfusion. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was giving her blood after waking up. Wasn't he looking to die? Don't worry. Lin Yi said faintly. I've almost recovered. I have to try everything. If I don't try, I won't be satisfied. Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu all fell silent after hearing Lin Yi's words. They all knew Lin Yi's personality. He would do what he said. Lin Yi's heart was conflicted. He wouldn't give up. Xiao's face was still pale and motionless, but Lin Yi still insisted on pouring his blood on Xiao's body. Time passed, and Lin Yi's face turned even paler and scarier, but Lin Yi didn't give up. The atmosphere in the room was very tense. No one spoke. Everyone was silent, and their eyes were on Lin Yi and Xiao. Finally, Xiao's eyelashes moved. She moved, she really moved. Yushu cried out. Ha! A happy smile appeared on Lin Yi's face. It seemed that Xiao had come back from the gates of hell. Tianlong's face was filled with joy and surprise as well. He didn't think that Lin Yi would be able to save Xiao this time. Xiao, are you awake? Tianlong ran over, a little excited. Ugh. Xiao opened her eyes in a daze and looked at the people in the room, surprised. I'm awake? I'm still alive? Yeah, you're still alive. Lin Yi nodded. Lin Yi, honey, you saved me again? Xiao looked at the pale face of Lin Yi, his wrist still bleeding. She felt a little bad. Yeah, Shield Bro lost a lot of blood to save you and fainted. Yushu nodded, but he kept saving you after he woke up. Shoo! Meng Yao stopped her from saying any more. Xiao would feel even worse if she said all this, wouldn't she? As expected, a sad expression appeared on Xiao's face. Lin Yi, honey, I'm really sorry. I'm not worth it. Even if I were alive, I wouldn't be able to last more than a few days. I can feel that the cold energy is still stirring, it's just being suppressed for now. I know, it's your birthday the day after tomorrow. After this day, You'll break the curse of dying before you're 20. Maybe things will turn around. Lin Yi said. Really? It's my birthday the day after tomorrow? Xiao didn't even remember her birthday. Tianlong had been busy with work, and she didn't have any close friends, so she didn't remember her birthday. She didn't think that he would remember her birthday at all. I saw it on your ID. Lin Yi smiled. All right, don't say such depressing things. Everything's fine now. Xiao nodded after some hesitation. Yes, no matter what, she was alive again. Who cared how long she had left? She couldn't let Lin Yi down, could she? The sky was starting to lighten, and the three girls hadn't slept the entire night. Xiao had just woken up, but she was very tired as well. After talking for a while, she started yawning. Lin Yi didn't know what to say, but he didn't know what to say. Rest early, everyone. I'm going back to my room to rest as well. Lin Yi said. I'm going back too. Xiao, listen to Lin Yi here. Tianlong had work to do too. The Red Conch incident wasn't solved yet. Who knew what they were planning next? Luckily, Xiao was in the villa now, so they didn't have to worry about the Red Conches attacking. After leaving the room, the smile on Lin Yi's face disappeared, replaced with a worried look. Tianlong, who followed him out, saw the change in Lin Yi's expression, but he wasn't too surprised. How long can Xiao last this time? Chapter 1321. What? You're saying that you found a way to save Xiao? Tianlong froze and stared at Lin Yi with his eyes wide open. His breathing quickened as he asked. Little Yi, tell me, have you found a way to save Xiao? Uncle Feng, don't move yet. Let's go downstairs and talk in my room. Lin Yi was afraid that Tianlong's voice would disturb Meng Yao and the others in the room, so he made a gesture. Tianlong's body was shaking as he followed Lin Yi downstairs to Lin Yi's room. He couldn't wait as he entered. Lin Yi, tell me, do you have a way? Uncle Feng, I do, but I don't know if I can find the herb. If I can, then it's not a problem. Lin Yi said, but there's a problem and that's time. There's not enough time. Even if I try my best, it'll take a month or longer. Xiao won't last that long. Herb? There's news on the fire spirit's fruit? Tianlong asked, surprised. Yes, I found an ancient medicine saint in a medical book. He once treated a very important patient with the fire spirit's fruit, and this herb can neutralize the coldness in the human body. It's what Xiao needs. Lin Yi said, and the place where this medicine saint found the fruit might be recorded in his medical notes, and the notes might be in his tomb. You're saying, you found the tomb of this medicine saint? Tianlong said, surprised. I found it, and I'm preparing to go. Lin Yi nodded and told Tianlong about Lingshan's plan. Lingshan invited me to the tomb, and as a reward, she'll let me copy all the medical books in there. That's not a problem. Even if she doesn't copy it for you, I have a way to show it to you. Feng Tianlong wasn't worried about this. With his special department, it was easy for him to look up these things. Does that mean there's hope for Xiao's illness? That should have been the case, but time waits for no man. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and sighed. It's too late to know this news. If it were earlier, it wouldn't be like this. That's not a problem. I can still help Xiao maintain her last bit of vitality. Feng Tianlong said, you might not know this, but when Susu passed away, I made an ice coffin for her and sealed her in it. It can maintain her body's functions. What? You actually thought of this method? Lin Yi was slightly taken aback, then nodded. Absolute zero? Although the department I'm in is a little special, it's still not up to that standard. But even if it doesn't reach that temperature, it won't be a problem to seal Xiao for decades. Feng Tianlong said, I didn't think of this method. It was Lin Dongfang, your master. He mentioned an interesting story, saying that someone was frozen in a glacier, and when the glacier melted, the person woke up. That's why I thought of this method. Of course, although this method can ensure that Xiao's body doesn't deteriorate, there's still a risk. Let's not talk about whether that joke was real or not. Even if it was real, there's a lot of coincidence involved, so if she freezes to death and can't recover, that's fine. Lin Yi, on the other hand, had a happy smile on his face. As long as Xiao's body didn't change, Lin Yi had his omnipotent energy, and he should be able to revive her. Everything was ready, and all that was left was the fire spirit's fruit. Seeing the smile on Lin Yi's face, Feng Tianlong didn't say much. Lin Yi must have a plan. All right, I'll get someone to prepare and make another ice coffin. Feng Tianlong didn't dare delay and immediately prepared to make the arrangements. When you froze Auntie Susu back then, did you think that she could be healed in the future? Lin Yi asked. Yes, Miracle Dr. Lin Dongfang said that if a sky class were to help, Susu could be saved, but... Sky class. Feng Tianlong smiled bitterly. I've already begged, but no sky class would risk losing a level to save a normal person. You've seen a sky class before? Lin Yi looked at Feng Tianlong, shocked. He didn't think that he'd come into contact with a sky class. It's fine, I'm just a normal person now, let's not talk about that. Feng Tianlong evidently didn't want to talk about the past. He shook his head and didn't say anything else. Lin Yi saw Feng Tianlong's face and knew that he didn't want to talk about it anymore, so he didn't force him. If that's the case, then I'm relieved. If it's possible, I'll find 2 fire spirits fruits and give one to Auntie Susu. But if there's only one, please forgive me, Uncle Feng, I can only give it to Xiao. If the fire spirits fruit is split, no one can guarantee that it won't have any effect. You love your wife, but I also want my wife to live. I know, I understand. Feng Tianlong couldn't help but laugh after hearing Lin Yi's words. She's still my daughter. I believe that if I really gave the one and only fire spirit's fruit to Susu, even if she came back to life and knew that I didn't save Xiao, she would still kill me. Lin Yi nodded. Feng Tianlong was right. Which parent didn't want their child to be safe and happy? Even if they died, it didn't matter. He believed that if Xiao Susu woke up, she would have the same thought. Lin Yi believed that if he and Xiao had a child and Lin Yi found a fire spirit's fruit, Xiao would definitely give it to the child and not herself. After sending Feng Tianlong away, Lin Yi's mood brightened up. The dark clouds were swept away. As long as he solved the problem of time, everything else wasn't a problem. The fire spirit's fruit, Lin Yi believed that if he worked hard, he would definitely be able to find it. Even if he couldn't find it, he could wait until he leveled up to sky class to cure Xiao's illness. Drop levels? Lin Yi wasn't afraid. Did he drop too little? Because Xiao always dropped to 0, so this was the result no matter what, right? Negative levels? Chapter 1322. Jianghu and the professor got out of the police station without much hassle. They were victims, after all, and Lingshan only investigated how they got caught and tricked before letting them go. The problem now was that Scorpion had confessed, but they couldn't get the money back. This made Lingshan a little depressed. According to Scorpion, he was from the international criminal organization Red Conches. His purpose here was to get money for Red Conches, and the other was to work as an information center. Red Conch had been stirring up a storm in Songshan recently, so Lingshan didn't doubt Scorpion's words. Red Conch couldn't even catch the people from the occult investigation department, let alone Lingshan. This wasn't something she cared about, and so the underground arena case had to end here. After this case was over, Lingshan would have to focus on the grave robbing case. This was a battle of wits and courage against criminals, and Lingshan had to give it her all. After the underground arena case was over, Xie Yufeng continued to visit her every day. Lingshan was annoyed, but there was nothing she could do about it. Sometimes, she really wanted Lin Yi to break his leg so he wouldn't bother her anymore. Lingshan, you're finally done with the case, right? I saw the papers. It was a complete victory. Congratulations. You've done a meritorious deed again. Yufeng had been paying attention to Lingshan. She said that she was busy with the case, and Yufeng knew that it was an excuse, but she really was busy. After the case was over, Yufeng planned to ask her out for a meal again. He'd like to see if she had any reason to reject him this time. That's because of everyone's hard work. Lingshan said faintly, "Do you have something to say? I've booked a table at Starlight Hotel tonight. I'm planning to hold a celebratory feast for you. How about it? Are you free tonight?" Yufeng smiled. "Sorry, not tonight. There's another case." Lingshan waved the file in her hand. "I have to work overtime tonight, maybe next time." Yufeng was very troubled, and his face didn't look too good after hearing Lingshan's words. But Lingshan's reason was reasonable, and he couldn't say anything about it. He gritted his teeth. "All right, I'll be going then." Lingshan frowned as she watched Yufeng leave. This guy had been chasing after her for a long time, and he'd always been a problem. She could brush him off now, but what would happen in the long run? There would come a day when Xie Yufeng would get impatient, and when would he get impatient? What would happen? At that time, House Song and House Yu might just fall out. What would happen to House Song's future then? Ling Shan wasn't in a good mood at the thought. If it weren't for this marriage with Ling Shan's current potential, it would have been normal for her to have a seat in the noble house meeting, and so Ling Shan was very happy. But now with the marriage with House Yu, things were different. On the surface, it looked like House Yu's support would make House Song stronger. But the problem was that Ling Shan didn't like Yu Feng. If she didn't have anyone she liked, then it'd be fine. For the sake of House Song, Ling Shan wouldn't mind. But now that she had someone she liked, with her personality, she'd rather die than be with Yu Feng. But this meant that there would be conflict. It was easy to get engaged, but hard to break off. This wasn't just about Yu Feng lusting after her. It was about the face of the house. Of course, if House Yu broke off the engagement first, then House Song would have no choice but to accept it. After all, House Yu was strong, and in the noble house rankings, whoever was stronger had the right. The situation was reversed, and House Song was the weaker. If they broke off the engagement, House Yu might get angry and do something outrageous. There was a knock on the door, and Ling Shan sighed. "Come in." It was Yu Qian. He was invited by Ling Shan to discuss the grave robbing. "Ling Shan, what's wrong? Why do you look so sad?" Yu Qian might have given up on pursuing Ling Shan, but he still cared about her. Her every movement and smile were all under Yu Qian's observation. Naturally, he had to ask when he saw the worried look on Ling Shan's face. "Yu Qian bro, you're here." Ling Shan forced a smile. "Isn't it House Yu's Yu Feng? He came again just now and said that he had booked a table at the Starlight Hotel. He wants me to go tonight and have a celebratory feast for me." "He's here again." Yu Qian frowned. "Can't he tell that you don't like him?" "He can tell, but so what?" Ling Shan shook her head. "Didn't you see that too? You still don't give up?" "I'm different. At least I'm not as persistent as him." Yu Qian felt a little awkward, but he seems to be a little too persistent. "Who knows? I don't know how to reject him either." Ling Shan said, "The noble house meeting is coming up, and I don't want House Song and House Yu to turn against each other. It doesn't benefit House Song at all. But how about this? I talk to Yu Feng. We're both men, it's easier to talk. If we ask him to give up and back off, it won't affect House Song and House Yu." Yu Qian sighed. "Let Yu Feng cancel the engagement that way, we can save our face." Yu Qian sighed. "It's no use, Yu Feng's different from you. He's someone who won't give up until he gets what he wants. I see the possessiveness in his eyes. He won't give up that easily." Ling Shan smiled bitterly. "He's an unreasonable person." "No matter what, we still have to try?" Yu Qian had a rough idea of Yu Feng's personality from what Ling Shan told him, domineering and unreasonable, but seeing how troubled Ling Shan was, he wanted to share some of her burden. "It's fine, I don't want to drag you and House Chen into this," Ling Shan said with a wave of her hand. "Your House Chen can't even save yourself. It'll be good enough if you can stay in the noble house meeting. Maybe I should talk to Lin Yi about it? Maybe he can do something?" Yu Qian asked after some thought. "We'll talk about it later. Lin Yi seems pretty busy these days." Ling Shan said, "Let's just brush him off for now. We'll talk to him if it really doesn't work." Chapter 13:23. "All right, we'll talk about it later then." Yu Qian nodded. This was Ling Shan's private matter, after all, and he couldn't say too much about it. He was just giving a suggestion from a friend's perspective. "Yu Qian bro, I called you here to discuss the operation in a couple of days. I actually have some good news for you." Ling Shan shook her head, throwing Yu Feng's worries to the back of her head. "Oh, what good news?" Yu Qian paused. "Don't tell me that Lin Yi agreed to join this operation?" "That's right, you're right." Ling Shan nodded. "With Lin Yi joining us, this operation might be a lot smoother. Yeah, we're both golden class, and you're a golden class late phase peak. But facing those evil grave robbers, I'm still worried that something might go wrong." Yu Qian nodded. "But this way, Lin Yi and I will be the couple, and you'll only be the follower," Ling Shan said, a little embarrassed. "Naturally, don't worry, I won't have any thoughts. I've thought it through already." Yu Qian smiled. "I support you and Lin Yi being together. I still have some thoughts, but I've let it go. All right, then this operation is set. Me, Lin Yi, and you will do it together. As for the others, you don't need to bring them. Ling Shan said. According to the information, the couple likes to work alone, and they don't like to bring too many underlings. Sometimes, they only bring one follower. In fact, it's not always good to have more people in a grave robber. There's a lot of traps in the graveyard, and one mistake and you'll die. It's fine if you have a good follower, but normal followers are just a burden. That's true, Yuqian said. When do we leave? I've already contacted the other grave robbers. You better follow up on Wuxia's side. I can't do much. He said he told us everything he knows, but I feel like he's hiding something. Ling Shan shrugged, a little regretful. This guy's really tight-lipped. Other than the things he told us, no matter what I did, he never spilled anything. However, his words were too rigorous and his thoughts were too clear. Even if a normal person were to tell the truth, there would still be some mistakes or omissions when saying the same truth so many times. However, he didn't. It was as if he had prepared a draft. This person's mind is too meticulous, but he's an expert in learning, so it's normal for his IQ to be higher than ordinary criminals. Chen Yuqian said, but you don't have to worry about it too much. I think he probably told Lin Yi what he didn't say. It's probably about the medical books in Zhang Liju's tomb. It doesn't have much to do with us. That's possible. Ling Gui remembered that Wuxia said he was going to give Lin Yi something. To Lin Yi, the only things that counted as benefits were money and medical books. Wuxia didn't know Lin Yi, but he knew that Lin Yi was a skilled doctor. He couldn't give Lin Yi more than these two things. After that, Ling Shan and Yuqian started to discuss the details of the mission, but most of it was just on paper. They didn't know what it was like inside the tomb, how dangerous it was, and what they were doing now was just to make sure they didn't have to worry about anything when it happened. Today was Xiaoxiao's birthday, and Meng Yao went to the supermarket with Shu early in the morning. They bought a lot of fresh fruits, preparing to make a fruit cake. Tang Yun was kneading the dough and making the cake base while Lin Yi told Xiaobo to buy butter. The miss had all the cooking utensils in the house, and Lin Yi was preparing to make a cake for Xiao Xiao. This wasn't hard for Lin Yi. There weren't any cake shops in Star West Village, and Lin Yi and Old Lin's birthdays were always made by Lin Yi himself. Lin Yi was by Xiao Xiao's side, looking at the thick jacket she was wearing, looking so down. He couldn't help but sigh. Xiao Xiao, don't worry too much. Didn't I tell you already? Uncle Feng will prepare an ice coffin for you and seal you up like your mother. I'll find the fruit for sure. Yeah, I believe you. I'm not worried, I'm just cold. Xiao Xiao said weakly, actually, I'm really happy today. Lin Yi nodded. Xiao Xiao had been like this ever since she woke up 2 days ago. It was probably because she was supposed to be dead, but Lin Yi forcefully extended her life for 2 more days. Naturally, she didn't have much energy left. All right, it's your birthday, don't knit anymore. Let's put it off for a day. Lin Yi said as he saw Xiao Xiao pick up the needle and start knitting again. Let me knit. I'm afraid I won't make it in time. Who knows if I'll be able to live past tomorrow. Xiao Xiao shook her head and continued. Didn't I say that you won't die? Lin Yi said, you can knit it when you come back to life. That won't do, I want to give it to you now. Xiao Xiao said, who knows how long it'll be before I can come back to life? Lin Yi didn't stop Xiao Xiao from saying that. He got up and went to the kitchen to help Tang Yun with the cake. The doorbell rang, and Tang Yun went to open the door. It was Su Shihan. Lin Yi had called her earlier, inviting her to Xiao Xiao's birthday banquet. She'd booked a ticket to leave today, but for Xiao Xiao, she changed it to tomorrow. Han, you're here. Tang Yun was surprised, not expecting Su Shihan to actually come. Yeah, where's Xiao Xiao? I brought her a present. Su Jinghan said as she took out a gift bag. In the living room, Han, you play with Xiao Xiao for a while. I'm making a cake with Lin Yi. I can't stay with you guys for now. Tang Yun showed Su Shihan her hand that was covered in flour. Alright, go on then. Right, do you need my help? Su Shihan asked. No need, just accompany Xiao Xiao. Tang Yun shook her head. Han, you're here. Xiao Xiao greeted Su Shihan weakly. Xiao Xiao, what's wrong? Why are you so weak? Why are you wearing a jacket at home? Su Shihan's eyes went wide when she saw Xiao. It's nothing. Haha, maybe I'm dying? Xiao smiled. Chapter 13:24. Shihan fell silent. Xiao had seen through life and death, but she still felt a little uncomfortable. Seeing a friend she just met leave made her heart heavy. Alright, Han, let's not talk about this. Lin Yi Honey said that he can cure me, so he definitely can. Who knows? Maybe you'll come back in a few years and find me alive again. Xiao saw that Shihan wasn't in a good mood and started consoling her. Shihan paused. Naturally, she didn't know about the ice coffin, so it was a little weird. It's nothing. What did you get me? Let me see. Xiao changed the topic. An album I recorded for you myself. Most of the songs are covers, but there's nothing special about it. I've never released it before, Shihan said as she handed the gift to Xiao. Wow, not bad at all. I love it. Xiao happily put the gift away. Meng Yao, Yushu, and Kongfen all came back one after another. Guden, Yuan, Fatty Lai, and Feng Tianlong were all invited as well. After the cake was done, everyone sat around the dining table and started singing the birthday song. Everyone knew about Xiao, but no one would bring it up right now. They didn't look sad either. Everyone happily gave their blessings. I'm so touched. This is the first time I've had such a lively birthday. Xiao said emotionally. I used to celebrate my birthdays with my dad at most, but this time I have so many good friends. Alright, time to turn off the lights and cut the cake. Yushu lit up the candles on the cake and happily turned off the lights in the dining room. In an instant, the dining room turned dark, and only the candlelight flickered. Xiao's face was flushed from the candlelight, and she looked exceptionally beautiful behind the candlelight. Xiao, you're 1 year older now. Do you have any wishes? Tianlong smiled at his daughter. Hearing that Lin Yi had a solution, Feng Tianlong let out a sigh of relief. Not only was there hope for Xiao, but there was also hope for his wife to wake up. This made his 20 years of gloomy mood finally see some light. Yeah, I can't tell you. Xiao blushed, but under the candlelight, no one could see her blushing. Then, let's all stop talking and let Xiao make a wish? Shihan suggested. Alright. Xiao, hurry up and make a wish. Tell me secretly after you're done. Yushu said. Ha. Xiao nodded and clasped her hands together, closing her eyes as she silently made a wish. Xiao looked like she'd seen through life and death, and didn't fear death anymore, but in truth, she didn't want to die. Especially with a boyfriend like Lin Yi, and friends like Meng Yao, Yushu, Tang Yun, and Shihan. She didn't want to die. And so, she made a wish, hoping that Lin Yi would be able to cure her so that she could be with them forever. Xiao sincerely made her wish, and the beautiful images of the future appeared in her mind. She'd have children with Lin Yi, Tang Yun, Meng Yao, Xiao, and Shihan. It was simply too beautiful, and she couldn't help but feel a little dizzy. No one spoke in the dining room. Everyone was waiting for Xiao to make her wish, but after a while, Xiao didn't look up. Lin Yi felt that something was wrong. Xiao. Lin Yi called. Xiao didn't reply. Lin Yi stood up and rushed over, checking Xiao's breathing and pulse. As expected, it was the same faint feeling she had when she was unconscious. Her illness had acted up, and she couldn't make it past her 20th birthday. Lin Yi subconsciously wanted to bite his wrist and use his blood to heal her, but Zhao Yazi's voice sounded. Don't waste your efforts. The cold in her body has seeped into her bones, and it's not something you can reverse. No matter how much blood you use, it won't do anything. The most important thing right now is to use the method you thought of before to seal her in an ice coffin, and then go find the fruit. Lin Yi paused before coming back to his senses. He stopped biting his wrist and sighed. Uncle Feng, prepare the ice coffin. I can't do it this time. There's nothing I can do. Lin Yi's words stunned everyone. Lin Yi had pulled Xiao back from the gates of hell time and time again, and they thought that he could do it this time as well. But they didn't expect Lin Yi to say something like that. Xiao, Tang Yin stood up first, her face pale. Lin Yi, is there no other way? Seal her in an ice coffin as soon as possible. I'll find the fruit, that's the only way. Lin Yi said seriously. Of course, when I break through to Sky Class, I'll be able to save Xiao, so don't be too sad. Just pretend that she's asleep. Lin Yi was sad as well, but he didn't want others to be sadder, so he tried to comfort them. Meng Yao, Yu Shu, and Shirhan all looked sad as well. The day had finally come, and it was a good thing that they were all mentally prepared for it. I'll contact the ice coffin right now. Tianlong nodded quickly and started making the call. The usually lively House Chu's villa had returned to its usual calmness, and even the lively Yushu had become quiet. Xiaoxiao's death wasn't something that could be relieved in just 1 or 2 days. Xiao wasn't in the villa before, but it was a completely different feeling from now. Shield bro, when are you going grave robbing? Yushu urged Lin Yi almost every day, asking him when he was going. Lin Yi, I'll leave Xiao to you. Meng Yao reminded Lin Yi often that he had a mission, a responsibility. Lin Yi, as long as you save Xiao, I'll agree to anything. We can play together. Even a threesome is fine. Tang Yin, who was always shy, was even flirting with Lin Yi for Xiao. Chapter 1325. And so, Lin Yi spent these days researching the mechanisms of the tomb, and the blueprints and instructions Lu Buojia gave him were read over and over by Lin Yi. But even with the blueprints, Lin Yi didn't slack off. It wasn't that Lin Yi didn't trust Lu Buojia, but the information wasn't complete. Lu Buojia's information only talked about the mechanisms on the outskirts of the tomb, but didn't talk about the facilities inside. After all, Lu Buojia himself only observed from the outside, and didn't go in, so no one knew what the situation inside was like. Every afternoon, it was still Lin Yi, the Miss, Shu, and Yin Yun eating together, but something seemed to be missing. No one seemed to want to talk, and the only thing they talked about was urging Lin Yi to go rob the tomb and find a way to save Xiao. Without Xie Yufeng, the school became peaceful again, and Pin Liang tolerated it for the time being. He didn't have any conflicts with Lin Yi and the others. The days went on, and in the blink of an eye, it was the day of the tomb robber. Lin Yi said goodbye to the Miss, Shu, and Yin Yun, but they didn't seem reluctant at all. Instead, they sighed happily. We're finally leaving. Lin Yi didn't know what to say. He smiled bitterly. Wait for my good news. But you have to be careful. Tang Yun said seriously. To us, Xiao is important, but you're important as well. Don't force yourself, and do what you can. As long as there's life, there's hope. If something happens to you, not only us, but even Xiao will lose hope. Yeah, Lin Yi, you have to be careful. Meng Yao nodded. I understand. Don't worry. Lin Yi nodded and said with a smile. Before leaving, Lin Yi called Gooden into the villa. Even though Songshan's enemies hadn't come knocking on their door, Lin Yi was still worried about the girl's safety. It was better to be safe than sorry. Even with Faubert around, Faubert was only a peak late-phase golden class, and while he could deal with normal opponents, he wouldn't be able to handle the stronger ones. Gooden, I'll leave Yao, Shu, and Yin Yun's safety to you when I'm not here. Lin Yi said. Don't worry, boss. Leave this to me. Gooden patted his chest. I'll make sure to protect them when you're not here. But your body is special. You have to remember what I said. Lin Yi said seriously. If a master comes looking for trouble, and you don't have the confidence, just kill him straight away, don't hold back. You're strong, but if a mystic's punch hits you, you'll die for sure. And if the opponent isn't very strong, then cripple his resistance first, then ask the mastermind behind the scenes. I'll remember. Gooden remembered Lin Yi's words. He looked honest, but he wasn't stupid. He knew that Lin Yi was telling the truth. That night, Gooden moved into the Chu villa, Lin Yi's room. As for Yuan, they had to leave for now. Gooden and Yuan didn't want to leave, but as far as he was concerned, the mission his boss gave him was the most important. Lin Yi, on the other hand, went to the police station to meet up with Ling Shan and Yu Tian. There were some things that needed to be done in unison. The other grave robbers weren't just for show, after all. If their disguise was exposed, then it'd be over. Yu Tian bro, Ling Shan, you guys should have come up with a detailed plan for the grave robbing, right? Just show it to me. Lin Yi didn't beat around the bush, getting straight to the point. Lin Yi didn't need to be courteous with Yu Tian and Lin Yi, especially with Ling Shan and Lin Yi. It's done, it's here. Yu Tian nodded and handed the plan to Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't say much as he sat on the sofa and started flipping through the book. He'd only skimmed through the tomb raiding plans. It was all theoretical stuff, with no practical use at all. He'd only read the introduction to the couple in detail, including their habits, style, etc., 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 etc. The couple rarely interacts with others? Even the other grave robbers don't know their true faces? After Lin Yi finished reading the information, he asked, "In other words, we don't have to deliberately disguise ourselves?" "That's right. The couple is a very cautious and cunning tomb robber. If it weren't for the coincidence that I found them at the border, I wouldn't have been able to kill them." Chen Yutian nodded. "This way, it saves us a lot of trouble. They're a rather unique existence in the tomb raiding world. Their skills are high, and they're cunning. Their peers love and hate each other as well. Sometimes they're greedy and want a piece of every tomb, but other times they can't do without them. They're very experienced." Lin Yi nodded. "Right now, it's me and Ling Shan acting as the couple. You're our foundation, right?" "That's right." Yutian nodded. "You're the strongest among the three of us, and the male is also the strongest among the couple." "What's your strength now? Or early phase golden class?" Lin Yi looked at Yutian and asked. "Yes, I'm sorry, but I'm still early phase golden class," Yutian said, a little embarrassed. He hadn't been able to raise his strength because of his talent. "Then I'll raise you to peak late phase golden class tonight. You'll be able to protect yourself like Ling Shan," Lin Yi said faintly. "Ah!" Yutian froze. Peak late phase golden class? Did he hear wrongly? Lin Yi was going to raise his strength? And looking at Lin Yi's tone, it seemed like he was talking about something very normal. You should know how Ling Shan raised her strength. Stop wasting time and start now. Lin Yi looked at Yutian's shocked face and smiled impatiently. Chapter 1326. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Once the strength of these people increased, even the hidden families and ancient sects would not dare to act rashly in front of him. If he didn't want to be bullied, he had to keep increasing his strength. But at the same time, he also had to help the people around him. This wasn't just helping him, it was also for their own good. Otherwise, once Lin Yi's strength reached a certain level, others wouldn't dare to do anything to him. But what if they tried to do something to his friends and family? Although Lin Yi would definitely go crazy for revenge, there were still some brainless people out there. "All right." Yutian took a deep breath and said solemnly, "I can't thank you enough." "Don't say those useless things. Why are you being so polite with me?" Lin Yi scolded with a smile. "You'll only be able to protect Shu when you're strong enough. I can't protect her forever. You'll still be the big brother in the future." "But you and Shu." Yutian actually approved of his sister being with Lin Yi. Although there was still Ling Shan here, Tang Yun there, and Xiao there. But on one hand, Yutian could see that his sister really liked Tang Yun, and on the other hand, he admired Lin Yi. "Ha! Let's not talk about this." Lin Yi waved his hand, ending the topic. He put his hands on Yutian's meridians. "Start channeling your arts, I'm going to start." "All right." Yutian nodded, and Lin Yi closed his eyes and entered the jade space, channeling the art of dragon mastery. In the next moment, a large amount of qi was absorbed into Yutian's body. Even if Yutian had heard Ling Shan talk about how she leveled up once, he couldn't help but be shocked. Could this be the legendary power imparting? The purity of this qi was something Chen Yutian had never seen before. Even in the deep mountains and forests, the qi he absorbed wasn't half as pure as this. Chen Yutian didn't dare to waste any time and started absorbing as much qi as he could. Ling Shan had already been through Lin Yi's leveling up, and so she wasn't too surprised. She sat quietly on the side, protecting the two, not letting anyone disturb them. After midnight, Lin Yi stopped channeling, and Yutian reached the peak of the late phase of the golden class without a doubt. What Lin Yi wasn't surprised was that he still stopped at the bottleneck, unable to take another step forward. "I'm really at the peak of the late phase of the golden class?" Yutian opened his hands in disbelief, shocked. "Is this for real? In such a short period of time I actually have this kind of strength. It's like a dream." "I felt the same way back then." Ling Shan looked at Lin Yi, who didn't seem to be affected at all, smiling bitterly. Just how strong was this person? Even if it was grandma, she'd lose some strength when she passed on her grandpa's strength, and there was no way she could raise someone from the early phase of the golden class to the peak of the late phase in such a short time. How many levels did he cross in between? This was simply inconceivable. That's all I can do for now. Whether or not you can reach the mystic class depends on your own efforts. Lin Yi said regretfully, if I want to raise you guys to the peak of the late phase of the mystic class, I'll have to work hard to become an earth class. You can still raise. Yu Qian's eyes widened. He didn't think that the day Lin Yi became an earth class would be the day he became a mystic late phase peak. This was too hard to accept, wasn't it? But the truth was the truth, and he had to believe it. After all, he'd seen it with his own eyes. From the early phase of the golden class to the peak of the late phase in one night. The speed was like sitting on a rocket. All right, let's all get some rest. I'm tired too. Don't we have to leave early tomorrow morning? Lin Yi had been using every night to train, so that if he couldn't find the fruit, he'd be able to prolong Xiaoxiao's life when he became a sky class. The effect wasn't as good as the fruit, but it was a safer backup plan. After all, Lin Yi was sure that he'd reach the sky class one day. Lingshan and Yuqian didn't object, since it was getting late. But they were in Lingshan's office, and sleeping was a problem. In Lingshan's break room, there was a sofa that could fit 2 people if they squeezed together, but in the outer room, there was a sofa that could only fit 1 person. Lin Yi, you and Lingshan can sleep on the bed, I'll sleep on the sofa. Yuqian had already accepted the fact that Lingshan and Lin Yi were sleeping together, so he suggested. Lingshan blushed, but didn't object. In her heart, she'd long since considered herself as Lin Yi's woman. He'd seen everything, and even tried to seduce him. Why would she care about sleeping with Lin Yi? She couldn't wait. It's okay, I'm not sleeping. I can recover by training. I'll just rest on the chair, you guys sleep, Lin Yi said faintly. All right. Yuqian nodded. I'll sleep on the sofa then. Yuqian could see the disappointment on Lingshan's face, but this wasn't something he could meddle in. It was better to sleep first. Then I'll go rest too. Lingshan knew that Lin Yi was a man of his word. If he didn't want to go, there was no point in forcing him. After a night of silence, the 3 started their journey the next day, to the ancient tomb in the outskirts of Songshan City. The 3 of them were in an off-road car. It was Yuqian's car, but the original license plate had been removed and replaced with a fake one. This was a common method used by grave robbers, and Lingshan and the others naturally followed suit. Although the tomb was in the outskirts of Songshan City, it was still quite far from the city proper, about 5 hours of driving. There were no highways, and there were mountain roads in between, so 5 hours was a conservative estimate. Sure enough, when the 3 of them arrived at their destination, it was already evening. This was a very desolate foot of a mountain. At the foot of the mountain, there was only a small village. It could be seen that the economy here was not very developed. The village was filled with bungalows, and the conditions were not very good. Chapter 13:27. No need, let's go straight. We're all practitioners, we don't need to rest. Lin Yi said faintly. Lingshan nodded. She'd forgotten that they were all practitioners, so she'd naturally suggest that they set up camp in a village to rest, but that wasn't necessary now. Then let's keep going. We should be there soon. Lingshan said. The road became more and more difficult to advance. There was almost no one in this area. Even the people in the nearby villages would not come to this place. This was because this was a mountain range, and it was mainly composed of rock cliffs. There were no wild fruits or animals. People could do nothing but look at the scenery here. The scenery here isn't bad, it's a good place to take pictures. Lin Yi sighed. It's a pity that no matter how good the scenery is, we can't develop it into a tourist spot because of the seclusion. The villages nearby are too poor, and the infrastructure is too bad. It'd take too much investment to develop this place into a tourist spot. No company would invest that much money here, and we don't even know if there'll be any returns. Yuqian said. Lin Yi didn't understand business operations, and so he didn't comment on Yuqian's words. The car drove for a while, and the road got harder and harder. There were fewer trees on the side of the road, and there was nothing else other than desolate rocks. They'd thought that the scenery was pretty when they first entered the mountain range, but as time went on, it became boring and boring. Chen Yuqian was right. This place wasn't suitable for a tourist spot. The scenery was too monotonous, and people who came here once wouldn't come back again. There was no point in staying here. We're almost there. We need to put on our masks. The tents in front might belong to the other tomb robbers. We need to be cautious and alert at all times. Don't let anyone see through us. Ling Shan reminded. There's no need to be vigilant. Being too vigilant would only make people suspicious. Let's just do what we need to do. Lin Yi said faintly. The couple's style is very overbearing and arrogant. The information mentioned that, too. Everyone in the industry knows that. Why would they be cautious? You're right. I was too worried. Ling Shan said, getting taught a lesson. With that, Lin Yi, Ling Shan, and Yu Qian put on the masks they'd prepared beforehand. These masks were all taken from the couple, and they were all original masks. They didn't even need to copy them. As the car got closer, they saw rows of tents and rows of vehicles not far away. Most of the vehicles were off-road vehicles, but there were also a few large trucks. They were probably loaded with living materials. These grave robbers had many underlings, unlike the couple who preferred to be alone. When Chen Yuqian drove closer, a few men with assault rifles walked out of the tent. Behind them, a short and skinny man waved his hand, signaling Chen Yuqian to stop. What are you doing? This is a military administrative area. There's construction in front of us. We can't go through. The short and thin man said lightly. If it were a normal tourist, they might have really believed the man's words and turned around to leave, but Chen Yuqian came here with a purpose. Naturally, he wouldn't believe the man's words. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. There's wood in front, right? Chen Yuqian said faintly. This was the newest entrance to the grave robbers' business, and he got it from Wuxia himself. He believed that the short and thin man would understand. Oh, the man said calmly. Heavenly King covers Earth Tiger. The previous sentence was a common opening in the tomb robbing industry, and this sentence was the agreed-upon secret code for this tomb robbing. If they could not answer, then sorry, the short and thin man would wave his hand, and the burly men with the submachine guns would not hesitate to open fire. If he could match the first sentence but not the second sentence, it was very likely that this person was also a member of the thief sect. He must have heard the news and wanted to fish in troubled waters to get some benefits. Therefore, the dark and thin man would never let these people have a share of the profits. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King Li. Chen Yuqian said calmly. He got this secret code from the couple's logbook. Even Wuxia didn't know this secret code. The couple might have been afraid of forgetting this secret code, so they recorded it in their logbook. Both Yuqian and Ling Shan wanted to laugh when they first saw the signal. The first reaction most people would have was the pagoda suppressing the river monster, but it'd be a huge mistake if they were to say something like that out of their mouth. A friend from afar. May I ask which group you're from? The short and thin man's face softened a bit. He knew that this was the group they'd agreed on. Old hey, you don't even fucking recognize me anymore? Why are you wasting my time? Do you want me to make him run you over? Before Chen Yuqian could say anything, Lin Yi opened the car door unhappily and jumped down, scolding the man. According to Chen Yuqian's information, this old He was the leader of the Red Pagoda tomb robbers, as well as the discoverers of this tomb. The couple had a weird temper and thought highly of their skills, looking down on their peers. They weren't very popular usually, but when it came to difficult tombs like this, they had no choice but to invite them over. And so, Lin Yi started scolding them as soon as he got out of the car. Male thief, you're still so bad-tempered. I'm just doing this for safety. The fewer people here, the more benefits we'll get. I'm just worried that someone might hear about this and come join in the fun. The short and thin man called Old Hay shook his head helplessly. He was pissed off, but there was nothing else he could do. Humph. Lin Yi humphed coldly. Where are the others? Are they all here? My time is limited. Kang Bro, Hao Yi, and James are all here. They're resting over there. The short and thin man said. Everyone's here? When is it starting? Lin Yi asked. According to the information he'd read, there were only 5 groups of people who'd come this time, and one of the couples had already become him. The other 4 groups were all present. Chapter 13:28. He only nodded. If you guys are hungry, you can buy some food over there. With that, the skinny man pointed at the 2 trucks not far away. No need, we brought our own food. Lin Yi said faintly before getting back into the car. Yu Qian, on the other hand, drove off to find the camp. What the hell, an idiot! Beside the skinny man was a big man with a submachine gun. He spat out a mouthful of phlegm on the ground as he watched Lin Yi's car leave. Does he really think he's some sort of big shot? He's so rich, and he brings his own food every time. Why didn't he get killed by the traps in the tomb? He's not on the same side as us. We don't get along well. Maybe he's worried that we'll poison his food. Old Hay shook his head and went back to the tent without saying anything else. Lin Yi, you're not bad. Ling Shan praised after the car was far away. I was so nervous just now, scared that Old Hay would see through us. His eyes are like sharp swords, like they can see through people's thoughts. But you got out of the car and started yelling at him. It's fine if he yelled at me. Lin Yi said faintly. What do we do now? Set up a tent like them? Yes. According to the data, the couple doesn't have a good relationship with the other tomb robbers, so we don't need to visit them. We just need to wait here. Ling Shan said. Lin Yi nodded and started setting up the tent with Yutian. He then took out some food from the car and went into the tent. Old Hay had been watching Lin Yi's group with his binoculars, and only breathed out in relief when he saw them setting up the tent like normal and not doing anything else. Although Old Black felt that there was nothing wrong with the burglar couple today and everything seemed normal, for some reason, he felt that the male burglar couple gave off a dangerous feeling. It was different from before. Blackie shook his head. Perhaps he was being too sensitive. Inside the tent, Yutian and Lingshan were munching on bread and drinking mineral water. Lin Yi, on the other hand, just ate something and started practicing. There was an endless amount of energy in the jade space that he could absorb, so skipping meals was fine. As for that piece of bread, it was just out of habit. Let's take turns to be on duty at night. One person will be on duty while the others sleep. Lingshan said as she ate. I don't feel too reassured. I'm worried that they'll notice something and do something bad to us. Not at the moment, but it's fine. You guys go to sleep. I'll keep watch. Lin Yi said indifferently. My cultivation is no different from sleeping. I can sense everything that is happening outside. Lingshan's mouth was agape, but she didn't say anything. She knew how weird Lin Yi was, after all, and it wasn't a surprise to her. Xiaoka was about to die from tiredness. Money really wasn't that easy to earn. Earning some extra money to support the orphanage wasn't easy at all. Although the orphanage had received a huge donation from Songshan Songshan First School, more than 2 million, she couldn't just sit there and do nothing. She wouldn't let go of a chance to earn money. Songshan's anti-theft operation was still ongoing, and Xiaoka had no business to do it all. She had to look for other opportunities. She posted a mission on the thief store's website, and a tomb robber organization called Red Pagoda accepted her mission, asking her to help with the tomb robberies. And so Xiaoka came. But she didn't have a car. She did rent one before, but the driver would only drive her to the village in front at most. He wouldn't drive any further. It couldn't be helped. Xiaoka called a taxi, not a sedan. Driving on this kind of road would damage the chassis, and no amount of money would let her go. And so, Xiaoka could only walk after getting off the car. Although she was the successor of Fian's sect, and her qinggong was amazing, walking 10 kilometers in one go was still exhausting. After all, she was a girl, and her stamina wasn't that good to begin with. Damn it, I'm finally here. Yu Xiaoka was on the verge of tears when she saw the tent not far away. She couldn't help but cheer and use her qinggong to run forward. Who are you? Old Hay was still blocking Xiaoka's path with a few men with guns. People from the Fian sect, Yu Xiaoka stopped and said while gasping for breath. You walked here? Old Hay was confused when he saw someone running over, but he didn't expect it to be the Fian sect he was waiting for. He couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Fian sect's people were amazing. Running this far? Yeah. Why didn't you send a car to pick me up? I'm so tired. Xiaoka rubbed her waist and complained. Heavenly King covers Earth Tiger. Old Hay felt that this girl in black was most likely from Fian sect, but he still asked out of caution. Pagoda bearing Heavenly King Li. Xiaoka said. All right, I got it. Let me see what the tomb looks like. We should talk about our conditions. Of course. Please come with me. Old Black nodded. He didn't dare to offend the people of the Fian sect. The Fian sect was an established sect in the thief sect. They had a unique understanding of secret mechanisms. This time, I'm not the only one participating in this grave robbing operation. So, we need to discuss how much we can give you. I don't have the final say. Of course, it all depends on your own ability. Old Black's words were very clear. If you want more benefits, you have to show some ability. If you can enter the tomb smoothly, then it wouldn't be a problem to give you a share. But if you're not good enough, then you won't be of much use. At most, they'll just give you a reward. Alright. Xiaoka nodded. Lin Yi was training when footsteps came from outside the tent. Lin Yi immediately came back to reality and stood up. Someone's here, but it's not a master. Tian, go take a look. Yu Tian was here as a follower, so Lin Yi called him Lil Tian. Chapter 1329. What's the matter? Yu Tian asked faintly. The man paused upon seeing Yu Tian come out. He didn't expect the thief couple's follower to be such a master, noticing him walking over. But he wasn't surprised. Which tomb robber didn't have masters by their side? Even old He had a mystic class master by his side. These people lived their lives with their heads hanging on their waists. One wrong move and they'd die in a tomb. Hey bro wants the two of you to go to his tent. The guests are here, and he wants to have a meeting to discuss the profit sharing. The man didn't beat around the bush, getting straight to the point. Alright, you go back first. We'll be right there. Yu Tian nodded. The man didn't say much. This was how the couple were, and they didn't interact much. He turned and left after informing them. Yu Tian went back to the tent and told Lin Yi and Lingshan what the man wanted. The man wasn't speaking softly, and Lin Yi and Lingshan heard him clearly. The three prepared themselves and left the tent, heading to Old He's. Old He's tent was the outermost one, in charge of interrogations and security. Lin Yi's tent, on the other hand, was the innermost one, and so by the time they reached Old He's tent, the others were already there. With the couple's usual style, they wouldn't take the initiative to greet other people, and so Lin Yi and Lingshan found a place to sit down. Yu Tian, on the other hand, stood behind them as a bodyguard. Kang Bro was the leader of a group of tomb robbers, and Kang Bro was just his nickname. As the name suggested, his face was full of holes, as if he had some sort of illness. In short, he was terrifyingly ugly. Old Hao, on the other hand, was an old man in his 50s. According to the information, he was a senior in the tomb raiding industry, highly respected and experienced. This time, Old Black was afraid that he wouldn't be able to take the tomb for himself, and that others would have other ideas, so he got Old Hao to take charge. The last person was a foreigner named James. But thinking about it, James was just his alias. It was impossible for people in this industry to show their real names. Many foreigners were interested in antiques, but not many of them were here to rob tombs. This James is a capable person. It was said that when the tomb was first discovered, he was there as well, and Kang Bro was there as well. Only Old Hao joined later. Alright, everyone's here. It's not the first time we've worked together, so there's no need for introductions. I'll introduce you all to an external helper, a famous one in the Steel sect, the successor of the Fian sect. With that, Old He waved his hand, and Xiaoka walked into the tent. Lin Yi and Lingshan paused when they saw Xiaoka enter the tent. Why was she here? But when Old He introduced the Fian sect, he suddenly remembered that the first time he met Xiaoka, this girl had claimed that she was a disciple of the Fian sect, and wanted to compete with him. Who would have thought that Xiaoka would be invited by Old He as well? Lin Yi and Lingshan exchanged glances, both a bit surprised and a bit alarmed. They couldn't let Xiaoka find out about their identities, at least not in front of everyone. Otherwise, they'd have no chance at all. Everyone knows what the Fian sect does, and I'm sure everyone here knows about the traps in the tomb. We don't have much confidence, and Lu Buojia isn't helping us, so we can only ask for external help. Old He said. Let's split the benefits before we rob the tomb, so we don't have to worry about conflicts later. I agree. We need to have rules when we're working together, otherwise we'll get blinded by greed. Old Hao was the first to agree. He was here to hold the line, so naturally he agreed with Old He's point of view. I agree as well. It's better to be clear about this. Kang Bro nodded. Nothing can be accomplished without rules. I agree. James said in a weird tone. I have no objections, Lin Yi said faintly. All right, since no one has any objections, then let's start splitting the benefits. I have a suggestion. I wonder if anyone has any objections? Old He said. We found this tomb together, but I was the one who got the clue first, so I should take 30%. Yes, that's a good idea. Everyone nodded. Every profession had its own rules, and as the one who gave the clue, Old Hay naturally had the right to take 30%. Kung Bro, Old Hao, the duo and James, you guys take 15% each, and the remaining 10% goes to the Sparrow Girl from the Fian sect. Old Hay said. Of course, the Sparrow Girl needs to show her true strength. Sure. After a moment of silence, Kung Bro, Old Hao, and James all nodded in agreement. There had to be a lot of treasures in this sort of dangerous tomb, but if they didn't have someone powerful, they wouldn't be able to get in. 15% didn't sound like much, but it was still a huge amount of wealth. Moreover, this distribution was clearly the most reasonable. Although Old Black took double, he was the one who put in the most effort. Moreover, after he received the information, he didn't monopolize it. Instead, he shared it with everyone to find the exact location of the ancient tomb. 15% is too little. I want 20. At this moment, Lin Yi spoke up. Ling Shan paused, a little annoyed at Lin Yi for messing with her. Even if he wanted 100%, it wouldn't be his in the end, so why did he have to do this? But Lin Yi had already spoken, and she couldn't go against it. She could only see how Lin Yi would handle this. Old Hay frowned. He didn't expect the male thief to speak up. But he didn't want to piss off this male thief, since he wasn't much weaker than Wuxia and the Fian sect. Male thief, how do you think we should split it? I don't care how others split it, I want 20%. Lin Yi said domineeringly. That's. Old Hay sighed. This distribution is the most reasonable. If you wanted an extra 5%, I wouldn't be able to take it from the others, so I'd have to take it from my share. But why should I give you that extra 5%? Chapter 1330. Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything else. Ling Shan and Yutian, on the other hand, started to admire Lin Yi. The more Lin Yi was so calculative, the more he fit the image of a thief couple. These people wouldn't suspect anything. Sparrow Girl, what about you? Do you have any objections? Old Hay turned to Xiaoka. I'll give you 10%, and that's according to the rules. Nothing more, nothing less. Technological foreign aid is 10% of the profits. No problem. Xiaoka nodded agreeably. In fact, Old Hay was very fair, since everyone was paying the same price. But let's get this straight up front. If you can't solve anything, then I'll just give you some money and let you go back. Old Hay said. This 10% is still valuable. I understand. Xiaoka said confidently. You know Fian sect's reputation, right? They keep their word. But I want cash for this 10%, not items. What Xiaoka lacked was money, and she had no use for the treasures in the tomb. It would be hard to get rid of them, so she suggested it directly. Sure, but you know the rules. The discount rule is 20% off the market price. Old Hay said. We can't get rid of them immediately. There's always a risk if we keep them in our hands. Understood. Xiaoka nodded. But if you don't want them, I can pick them up, right? That's up to you. Old Hay nodded. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Xiaoka's words. This girl really was a little money grubber. She didn't want to let go of anything at all. Why would she want to pick up things that other people didn't want? But no matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. These grave robbers had very high standards, and they wouldn't be interested in normal things. Picking them up would take up too much space, and some small things like gold and silver would be good for Xiaoka. After confirming the division of benefits, there was nothing else to talk about. Old Hay said, since no one has anything to say, then it's settled. I don't want any conflicts of interest. I think with Old Hao here, everyone can follow the rules. Everyone nodded, but no one knew how much sincerity was in this nod. When the benefits were not big enough, everyone could naturally abide by the rules, but once the benefits were to the point of making people jealous, then it was hard to say. I'll head back first. Lin Yi said faintly as he stood up and walked out of the tent, Ling Shan and Yutian following closely behind. Let's all get some rest. We'll enter the tomb together tomorrow morning. Old Black nodded and said. Back in the tent, Ling Shan said immediately, that Fian sect. But Lin Yi put a hand over her mouth and made a shushing gesture. Lin Yi, on the other hand, continued. The Fian school might not be able to do that. We have some key information about this tomb in our hands. Even if they could solve it before, the last step is still up to us. Otherwise, everyone will die. With that, Lin Yi pointed at a corner of the tent. Lingshan and Yuqian looked at where Lin Yi was pointing, and saw that there was a listening device installed on the side of the tent. Lingshan's heart skipped a beat. She was lucky. She had been too rash, and if it weren't for Lin Yi's quick reaction, she would have been exposed. She wanted to say that Fian's sex-flying sparrow girl was Xiaoka. Wasn't that the female thief she was after? Her identity would have been exposed if she said that, and Old Black's assault rifles would have surrounded them. Even if the three of them managed to escape, the mission would have been a failure. Tian, check the inside of the tent, see if anyone did anything to it. After saying that, Lin Yi seemed to have remembered something, ordering Yuqian. Yes. Yuqian pretended to check the insides of the tent. It'd be too fake if he found the listening device right away. He wanted to search for a while before taking it out. He'd also check the other parts of the tent to see if anyone had done anything to it. Old Black was listening to Lin Yi and Lingshan's conversation with a listening device, and he heard Lin Yi telling Yuqian to check if anyone had done anything to the tent. He was troubled. He thought to himself that this couple was still on guard against others. But that was to be expected. Who wouldn't be on guard in this line of work? He'd asked his men to put a listening device in someone else's tent when they were discussing. Wasn't that to guard against others as well? After hearing Lin Yi's words, Old Black finally understood why Lin Yi was so confident in asking for 20%. He had a trump card. He actually had information on this tomb. Old Black's heart palpitated as he listened to Lin Yi talk about the mechanism. Luckily, he'd agreed to Lin Yi's request. Otherwise, wouldn't they all be dead in the tomb? Wouldn't it be a huge loss if Lin Yi took advantage of them all? Not long after, it was obvious that the male thief subordinate, Xiao Tian, had found the listening device. There was only a creaking sound, and there was no sound from the earpiece. The listening device had been destroyed. Didn't expect this couple to have a trump card up their sleeves. No wonder they were so cocky. One of Old Black's underlings said. He was in charge of listening to the other tomb robbers, but the others didn't say anything important, and he carefully removed the listening device. Evidently, no one here was an idiot. They were all people with some tricks up their sleeves. Old Black shook his head. This was the only thing he could do. Everyone had spoken nicely, and there wasn't anything wrong with the distribution of benefits. But who knew what would happen tomorrow? Yu Xiaoka didn't bring a tent, but Old Black gave her one. She didn't have the money to buy things from the supply truck, which belonged to another faction in the Steel Sect. There was a group of people in the Steel Sect who didn't participate in tomb robberies, but would go wherever there were tomb robberies to sell their daily necessities. They had everything, but the price was ridiculously high. This line of work had been around for a long time, and they'd gotten permission from a few respected seniors in the sect. Chapter 1331. Familiar? Of course, don't underestimate these people. They had the support of the big bosses of the thief sect. If anyone dared to touch them, they would be ostracized by the entire thief sect. These grave robbers were all rich, and they weren't afraid of the high prices of their daily necessities. Most importantly, they were too lazy to carry it. However, the thief couple was a special case. Although these two people were incomparably arrogant, they were very vigilant. They were always on guard against others trying to harm them. Therefore, regardless of clothing, food, shelter or transportation, they rarely bought anything from others. Instead, they carried it themselves. Xiaoka knew this rule as well. She carried a backpack filled with biscuits and water, as well as some essential tools. A little money grubber like her wouldn't spend a lot of money on food. After returning to the tent, Xiaoka set up an alarm system before laying down on the mat to sleep. Although they were all from the thief sect, Xiaoka was a girl, and she had to be careful when she was out alone. Today, why does the male thief's voice sound so familiar? Xiaoka murmured to herself. Have I seen him somewhere before? Xiaoka was part of the thieves' sects and had participated in a couple of tomb traps, but she'd never met the couple before. Both of them were wearing masks, and if she'd seen them before, she should have had a deep impression of them, but she hadn't seen them before. Could it be that she'd seen the couple without their masks? Xiaoka froze, shocked by her own bold idea. Was that even possible? Forget it. Xiaoka shook her head and didn't want to think about it anymore. The couple was wearing masks, so it was obvious that they didn't want people to see their real faces. If she went over to see them, they might hold a grudge against her. Xiaoka was here for money. As for other things, she didn't want to cause more trouble. As for Xiaoka, Old Hay didn't eavesdrop. Xiaoka was alone, and he wouldn't be able to get anything out of it. The Fian sect was known for their cautiousness. There was no need for him to do anything unnecessary. On Lin Yi's side, after Yu Qian removed the bug, Lin Yi glared at Ling Shan. Be careful next time, think before you speak. Like an idiot. Aya, don't talk about the silly girl, I know I'm in the wrong. Ling Shan blushed, embarrassed by Lin Yi's words. I didn't know these grave robbers were this cunning planting bugs here. In the future, unless I take the initiative to ask, don't talk about the plan, Lin Yi instructed. The jade had warned them of danger when they entered the tent, and so Lin Yi subconsciously covered Ling Shan's mouth and said something random, not expecting to actually find a listening device in the tent. I understand. Ling Shan nodded obediently. Chen Yutian learned from Lin Yi. He didn't speak before because he didn't have the time to. Now that he was reminded by Lin Yi, he realized that these tomb robbers were much more cunning than he thought. When are you going to arrest them? Lin Yi asked. With their numbers and weapons, it's not hard for us to escape, but it'll be hard to take them all down. We'll play it by ear. Once all the traps are solved, I'll inform my colleagues to surround this mountain range and take them all. Yu Qian said. All of them? I hope so. Lin Yi smiled and didn't say anything else. The map Wuxia gave him was already hard enough. Who knew what other traps were waiting for him? This ancient medicine saint was very famous, and he knew a lot of people from all walks of life. The traps in the tomb were all designed by these people, and normal people wouldn't be able to solve them. At night, Lin Yi sat on the ground practicing, while Ling Shan and Yu Tian fell asleep. They needed to recover their stamina and spirit to their peak for tomorrow's operation. The next morning, Ling Shan and Yu Tian woke up early. They were both practitioners, and while they weren't as good as Lin Yi at staying awake, they could still recover their stamina in a short amount of time. You're awake? Eat something. We'll go to Old Hay's place. Lin Yi heard people walking around outside the tent. The other tomb robbers must have woken up as well, but whether or not they were resting wasn't something Lin Yi cared about. You didn't sleep the whole night? Ling Shan asked. Yeah, don't ask useless things like that. Let's eat and leave. Lin Yi said impatiently. Ling Shan didn't dare say anything else. She and Yu Tian took a few bites of bread before the three left the tent. As expected, Xiaoka, Kang Bro, and James were all in Old Hay's tent. Only Old Hao wasn't there yet. Old people weren't as energetic as young people. Two thieves, you're up so early as well? Old Hay greeted Lin Yi and Ling Shan with a smile. Ever since he heard what Lin Yi said in the tent yesterday, Old Hay's attitude towards Lin Yi had grown even more respectful. Humph. Lin Yi humphed coldly. You're the one who put the bug in? Haha, my men don't know any better. Don't take offense. Old Hay laughed. Only a couple like this would be able to expose something like this to their face. If it were someone else, they'd be too embarrassed to bring it up. But now that it was out in the open, everything was a lot easier. There was no need to hide it anymore. Now, you don't think 20% is much, right? Lin Yi asked. Naturally. If you can help out in a critical moment, I'm willing to give you that 20%. Old Hay said. Good that you know. With that, Lin Yi found a spot and sat down, closing his eyes to rest. Ling Shan sat beside him as well, and Yu Tian stood behind Lin Yi and Ling Shan like a door god. Xiaoka didn't say anything, just sitting beside Old Hay's tent and drinking the porridge. Old Hay was treating her, so she'd be wasting it. One can cost 10,000. Xiaoka's heart ached as she drank. Wouldn't it be better if she had 10,000? She could buy a cart full of porridge and feed the kids in the orphanage for so long. Chapter 1332. You can have it. And so, Xiaoka complained as she ate. This porridge seller was really scamming her. She'd see if she could steal some money from them after the tomb raid. Haha, it was decided. As the saying goes, even thieves have their own rules. In the Steel sect, they also rely on their own abilities to survive. It's okay to do evil, but it must be done skillfully. If they openly rob with weapons, then it's not what the Steel sect does, it's what the underworld does. However, with the development of the Steel sect, some people began to break the rules, especially some newcomers, who became impetuous and greedy. However, they didn't dare to be too brazen because of the deterrence of the big bosses of the Steel sect. They just played some tricks in the dark. The competition on the surface was still based on skills. Whoever was more skillful would get more. Of course, the thief gangs in the city didn't belong to the thief sects anymore, and they didn't care about the rules. That was why Xiaoka got ganged up on that day. Do you want some porridge? Old Hay took out 2 cans and tossed it to Lin Yi. Don't worry, I'm not stupid enough to poison it. Don't be scared with Old How here. Plus, I can't ignore what you said yesterday, whether it's true or not. I'm not hungry. Lin Yi took it and put it on the table in front of Xiaoka. You can have it. Xiaoka didn't reject it and accepted it. She wouldn't even be willing to drink a few kuai a can of 8 treasure porridge, let alone a 10,000 kuai 1 can. Now that big head was paying, she wouldn't hold back. Old Hay shrugged and didn't say anything else. The couple's personalities were a little out of place, and these people were used to it already. After a while, Old How came to Old Hay's tent with a few of his underlings. He didn't look embarrassed when he saw everyone there. Old Hay, can we start now? I'll go check out the tomb today. Everyone pack up, we're going to rob the tomb. Old Hay nodded. This time, the profits belong to everyone, and I hope that you guys don't hide yourself. Use whatever skills you have, or no one will get anything good. Of course, it's not the first time we've worked together. Kang Bro nodded in agreement. Although I'm not as experienced as you guys, my technological equipment is top-notch. James said. I'll definitely do my best if I'm needed. Humph, as long as my 20% is not a small amount, there is naturally no problem, Linny said coldly. All right. Old How is here too, so it's settled then. Old Black was obviously a very careful person. He confirmed these things again and again, afraid that there would be any problems. In half an hour, we'll be here, and then we'll go explore the tomb together. Everyone nodded and went back to prepare, but Lin Yi, Lingshan, and Yuqian didn't go back, sitting there quietly as if they didn't hear what Old Hay said. Male thief, aren't you going to prepare? Old Black asked. No need, Linny said calmly. We're just exploring the tomb. What's the point of bringing so many things? Do you want to die? Old Hay shrugged and stopped talking to Lin Yi. Talking to this guy was just asking for trouble. The guy's personality was too weird. No wonder he wore a mask all the time. With that temper, he must have a lot of enemies. If people knew what he looked like, he'd die sooner or later. Xiaoka didn't leave too. She was getting more and more familiar with this male thief. It was a woman's intuition, or rather, a thief's intuition. She kept feeling like she'd seen Lin Yi somewhere before. Old Hay went to pack up, and Xiaoka couldn't help but raise her head and look at Lin Yi curiously. What are you looking at? Do you want to die? Lin Yi knew that Xiaoka had suspicions. Lin Yi had purposely changed his voice, but Xiaoka might still be able to see through it. It was an intuition. Xiaoka stuck her tongue out, but didn't continue asking after seeing Lin Yi's fierce face. Half an hour later, everyone came back with their tools. With Old Hay at the front and the others at the back, they headed towards the tomb. The tomb was at the bottom of a cliff in the mountain range. This kind of cliff, if one didn't know that there was an ancient tomb down there, they wouldn't go down. It was all rocks here, and there was no grass or animals. No one would be dumb enough to go play at the bottom of the cliff. At the edge of the cliff, Old Hay's men started assembling the crane they brought, and in the blink of an eye, a small crane was assembled. My men will stay up there, but for the sake of fairness, your men can stay up there willingly, Old Hay said. The reason for this was because he didn't want Old Hay to come up and leave the others at the bottom, suffocating them to death. Kung Bro, James and Old How all had people stay up there, but Linny said faintly, I only have 3 people, so there's no need. You'll be the last to go up. That's not a problem. Old Hay paused and nodded. He had the most people up there, so it was fair for him to be the last to go up. Of course, he didn't know that Linny was only saying that to confuse him. With the height of the cliff, even a golden class wouldn't have a problem jumping down, much less a mystic. When old Lin kicked Lin Yi off the cliff, he didn't fall to his death. There was no way he'd die now. The crane first sent Old Hay, Old How, James, Kung Bro, and Lin Yi down, and then the rest of the men went down one by one. The entrance to the tomb was on the cliff, but this wasn't the real entrance. It was just a robber's hole, and the real entrance was obviously undiscovered. Old Hay, Kung Bro, James, Old How, Xiaoka, and Lin Yi entered the robber's cave. It was a stone room that wasn't too big or too small, and they didn't know what it was used for. There was a door in front of it, but it had already been destroyed by someone. Old Hay bent down and carefully checked the small details on the door. Then he nodded. Looks like everyone is trustworthy and didn't come without permission. Of course. Kung Bro and James nodded. In this line of work, we need to be trustworthy. Chapter 1333. One person was missing. Old Hay smiled awkwardly and didn't reply. He waited for all his subordinates to arrive before walking into the tomb. Outside the room was a long corridor that connected the left and right sides. Old Hay took the left path. Lin Yi didn't know much about the situation in the tomb, and the couple's work log didn't mention much about it. Wuxia, on the other hand, had given some guesses about the traps in the tomb, but he'd neglected the simple safety zones when they first entered the tomb. As a result, Lin Yi didn't say much as he followed Old Hay and the others into the dark tomb. Old Hay had a searchlight, but the tomb didn't have any sunlight at all, and it still looked eerie and scary. It was fine at first, but after walking for a few dozen meters, waves of cold air hit them in the face. There was an indescribable moldy and rotten smell that made their hair stand on end. Fortunately, the ground of the tomb was relatively flat and there were no obstacles. This allowed these people to walk at a very fast pace. After walking for a long time, there was a faint click sound. Then everything turned dark. All of them were expert grave robbers. Naturally, they did not believe in demons or ghosts. However, the sudden darkness caused them to stop in their tracks. Damn, the searchlight ran out of battery? Did it just charge yesterday? Old Hay cursed at the front of the team. Who charged it yesterday? Brother Hay. I just checked it and tested the remaining battery. There's no problem. A big man said carefully. What the hell? Who has a torchlight? Give me one. Haegu shook his head. The probability of the searchlight suddenly breaking down was less than 1%. He did not expect that this would be such a bad start. However, it was too late to go back and get a new searchlight. Moreover, they had only brought one searchlight this time. This thing was huge, and it was connected to a large battery. It was quite inconvenient to carry around, so they only brought one when they entered the tomb. Someone handed Old Hay a torchlight. However, the light from the torchlight was especially weak in the dark tomb. The searchlight couldn't even reach the end, let alone the light from the torchlight. However, it was better than nothing. Although he couldn't see it clearly, he could make do with it. Those at the back, hold each other's hands. Don't fall behind. Old Hay shouted to the people behind him before turning to another man. Mr. Chiu, please cover the back and scatter some lime powder along the way. Don't get lost. Yes, Black Bro. Mr. Chiu nodded and ran to the back of the group. Lin Yi looked at this Mr. Chiu. He was a golden class early phase peak. Who would have thought that Old Hay would have someone like that by his side? After giving the order, Blackie continued walking with the flashlight. After walking for a few hundred meters, he still couldn't see the end. Lin Yi frowned, but seeing that no one said anything, he didn't say anything either. After another few hundred meters, Old Hay suddenly stopped in his tracks, and the whole team came to a halt. No, we're going the wrong way. Lao Hay suddenly exclaimed and turned around. A trace of uneasiness flashed across his eyes. Something's wrong. Last time, we only walked for about 10 minutes to reach the entrance of the underground palace. This time, we walked for about half an hour. There's still a path ahead. No way. How could this be? James exclaimed. How did you lead the way? Fuck. I knew something wasn't right. Why are we taking so long? My legs are going to go numb. Kung Bro also complained. Stop arguing, Old Hay, what's going on? Old Hao spoke up, interrupting them. He was the only one who hadn't been to the tomb before, so naturally he didn't feel anything wrong. Old Hao, I think we're going the wrong way. This path seems endless, we need to go back. Old Hay said. What us? You're the one who went the wrong way. Kung Bro complained. Alright, now's not the time to push the blame away. Old Hay didn't mean it, let's go back and talk. Old Hao was an experienced man, after all. He wasn't too nervous right now. That's the only way. Mr. Chiu, lead the way back along the limestone line. We're going back. Old Hay said to Mr. Chiu. But no one answered. Mr. Chiu? Did you hear me? Old Hay called again. Still no answer. Mr. Chiu? Old Hay's face finally changed as he called again. Ah! Just then, a scream came from the back of the team. Old Hay subconsciously ran to the back of the group. The others also turned their gazes to the back of the group. At the back of the group, one of the subordinates was holding a broken arm, screaming in horror. There was also a bloody shirt on the severed arm. It was Mr. Chio's. Mr. Chio. Old Hay looked at the severed arm in shock, speechless. After a while he roared, "Where's Mr. Chio? Why is there only half an arm left?" "I don't know." The man holding the arm was pale as well. "You called for Mr. Chio before, and I didn't hear a reply, so I turned around to look, but I didn't see anything, and I didn't touch anything. All I have left is half an arm." The team was already a little restless because they'd gone the wrong way, and now that something like this had happened, it was even more shocking. Old Hay's face was very unsightly. If he didn't know how strong Mr. Chio was, he would have suspected that it was this man's doing. But Mr. Chio was a golden class early phase peak. What kind of master was he to be able to kill him without making a sound? Who did it? Who did it? Old Hay was a little agitated. Mr. Chio was his biggest support, and now he'd been killed without a sound. Plus, was there anyone in the team who could do this? Chapter 1334. One could see how strong the enemy was. Could it be an Earth class? There was an Earth class hiding here, and he didn't notice? Lin Yi's eyes scanned through everyone present, but he found nothing. There were a few masters in the team, but the strongest one was only a golden class late phase peak, not even a mystic. However, the strongest expert that these grave robbers could hire was only a golden rank. After all, even a mystic rank would not risk their life for them. This profession of grave robbing was too dangerous, and there was the risk of dying at any time. It was better to be a bodyguard for a rich family. Plus, a lot of mystic class masters were recruited by the noble houses, and there weren't many of them among the commoners, let alone an Earth class. However, at this moment, a person was really dead, and he didn't even know how he died. There was another possibility, which was that the killer wasn't in the team. He wasn't a member of the team, but someone hiding in the dark. After killing someone, he went into hiding. Of course, the other possibility was that there was an Earth class physical practitioner in the group, and when he didn't show his strength, Lin Yi's golden finger wouldn't work on him. But one had to know how hard it was to become a physical Earth class. Even a noble house like Chintian didn't have a physical Earth class. Mr. Chio's death made everyone's faces change, especially old Hao. He looked at Kung Bro, James, Lin Yi, and Ling Shan sharply. "Which one of you did it? What's in it for you? We're all lost, we can't go back, you're just hurting yourself and others, aren't you?" "Old Hao, that's not right. Why did we kill him?" Kang Bro wasn't happy. "Couldn't it have been that Chio guy who killed himself? Why don't you ask Old Black? Maybe he did this on purpose to frame us and take all the benefits in the tomb for himself." "Bullshit. Even if I wanted to kill myself, I wouldn't let Mr. Chio do it." Old Hay was about to explode. His master had died for no reason, and he was being suspected as well. "Mr. Chio is a golden class early phase peak master that I hired with a high price. How could I let him die like that? I have so many minions, but I want the experts to die. Am I crazy? Humph, he's already dead. Even if you say he's at the profound stage, we can't verify it." Kung Bro said coldly. "All right. Let's talk about what we should do first." Old Hao waved his hand and said helplessly, "Old Hay, this path isn't right. Something's wrong. It took us 10 minutes to walk 500 or 600 meters to reach the entrance, but it's been half an hour now, and we're still not there. It's still dark. We must have gone the wrong way." Old Hay shook his head. "I was afraid that we'd gone the wrong way, that's why I asked Mr. Chio to cover us, but who knows what you're thinking? Did you deliberately go the wrong way?" Brother Kang had a bad temper. He was full of anger, so he took it out on Brother Hay. "Fuck you. Say another word, Old Kang, and I'll shoot you." Old Hay was furious and sullen, pulling out his gun and pointing it at Kang Bro. "Ha, shoot if you dare." Kang Bro scolded, knowing that Old Hao was here and that Old Hay didn't dare do anything rash. "Old Hay, don't you dare." Old Hao yelled as well. Bang! A gunshot rang out, and Old Hay really did shoot. If Old Hao hadn't said that, Old Hay wouldn't have acted so rashly. But Old Hao's "do you dare" made Old Hay's heart pound. Why wouldn't I dare? Fuck, I don't even know how my expert died. I'm already pissed off enough, and you're still saying that I'm acting? So what if I kill you with one shot? Old Hay was on the verge of breaking down. Kung Bro didn't even have time to scream before Old Hay shot him dead. Everyone was dumbfounded, looking at Old Hay in horror. James and his men pulled out their guns and pointed at Old Hay. He didn't want to become the second Kang Bro. Old Hay, what are you doing? Why did you kill him? Old How yelled. Lin Yi looked at him coolly. He didn't know if the guy was really stupid, or if he was just faking it. Or was he just using his seniority? He'd provoked Old Hay so much, it would be weird if he didn't shoot. Old How, you saw it too, he wanted to die. He said if I didn't shoot, then I'd be stupid, so I had to shoot. Old Hay humphed coldly and turned to James. Don't make a fuss, or we'll all die together. At this time, Old Hay's men all raised their guns, aiming at Kung Bro and James' men. All right. Even if Old Kang's words are bad, there's no need to kill him. I'm here, aren't I? Old How said helplessly. Right now the most important thing is to run for our lives, not fight amongst ourselves. Old Kang's men, if you want to follow us, then follow us. If you want to get revenge for Old Kang, then fight Old Hay. I won't interfere. Once we're done, we'll go back. Old Kang's underlings, except for the two confidants, would no longer work for him when they saw that Old Kang was dead. Thinking of this, everyone put down their guns. The two confidants suddenly attacked, but they were shot dead by Old Hay's underlings. It was obvious that Old Hay had the advantage in numbers. Getting revenge for Old Kang wasn't a smart choice. All right, let's go back. Old How said faintly, not saying anything else. The group of people still held hands and slowly walked back the way they came. This time, they didn't dare to walk as fast as when they came. They just took small steps, but they didn't go far. These people had to stop. In front of them was a fork in the road. No one remembered which fork they came from, and there were no traces of lime on the ground. Mr. Chiu was obviously dead by now. What do we do? The people in front stopped and turned to ask. James opened his mouth, wanting to blame Old Hay. He was the one leading the way, and that was why everyone got lost. But then he remembered how Old Hay had shot Old Kang, and he shut his mouth. He was the only foreigner here, and if a fight broke out, he'd be at a disadvantage. Chapter 1335. Xianxia frowned. There was no difference between the two passageways, and they looked the same from the outside. She really couldn't tell the difference. I can't tell, either. There aren't any signs or symbols here, and there aren't any traps, either. It's just two passageways, I can't tell. Xianxia said straightforwardly. She didn't want them to get lost because of her judgment. Old Hay, what do you think? Old How looked at Old Hay, a little disappointed. I don't know either. Blackie shook his head. This tomb was very strange. There were no signs at all, and he couldn't find any clues. He didn't know how the builders used it, but they probably brought a map with them every time they came. Then we'll go left. This time, we'll all sprinkle some lime powder on the ground and walk forward. I'll cover the back. There shouldn't be a problem. Old How said after a sigh. All right. I agree. Old Hay thought about it. It was a good idea, and with Old How covering the back, there wouldn't be any problems. I agree. James nodded. At this time, he had no choice but to agree. If he didn't agree, would he have to go to the right? Wouldn't that be more dangerous? All right, it's decided then. Old How nodded. You guys go left. I'll go right. Lin Yi said faintly. As they got closer to the left, the jade on Lin Yi's chest started alerting him. Evidently, there wasn't anything good here, and so Lin Yi chose the right. What? You guys aren't going with the rest? Old Hao's face darkened at Lin Yi's disagreement. He was the one who suggested going left. I want to go right. Is there a problem? Lin Yi humphed coldly. Up to you. Let's go. Old Hao said to the others with a cold smile, pissed at Lin Yi's insensitivity. Old Hay frowned, suddenly remembering what he'd overheard yesterday, Lin Yi's words. Could it be that Lin Yi had full confidence? Otherwise, why wouldn't he go left with the rest? With that thought, Old Hay hesitated. Old Hao, let's go right. What? You trust him? Old Hao's face turned even uglier. I agree with the right. Xiaoka spoke up as well. She didn't know why, but she didn't like this Old Hao at all, so she decided to support the couple. At that moment, Lin Yi was already walking to the right, with Ling Shan and Chen Yutian following close behind. Old He hesitated, but brought his men with him. Lin Yi's confidence only increased after seeing how confident Lin Yi was. Xiaoka walked in as well, and James hesitated for a bit before following them in. Anger flashed in Old Hao's eyes. He was the one with the most authority in the group, but now, no one listened to him. Even Old He, who'd invited him, listened to the couple. It pissed him off. But now that everyone was gone, he couldn't go to the left alone. He coughed and followed helplessly with his men. The right path wasn't long, and after a while, they came to another fork. Left and right again. This time, everyone was dumbfounded. Why were there two more paths? Previously, because it was behind him and the cave was pitch black, he didn't notice it. Now that he noticed it, it was already too late. How do we go? Old He looked at Lin Yi, hesitating. He didn't know if Lin Yi was confident or not. Let me take a look. Lin Yi stood near the two paths, sensing the danger within. But what Lin Yi found strange was that the jade didn't warn them. Were they both safe? Lin Yi frowned. He couldn't make up his mind. Why aren't you going? Old Hao spoke up. You're not leaving, are you? I told you to go left before, but you guys didn't listen, insisting on going right with him. Old Blackie was a bit shaken by Old Hao's words. Are you sure about this, male thief? I didn't ask you to come. You came on your own. Lin Yi said faintly, not giving Old He any hints. You can go back if you don't want to. Let's go, follow me back. We'll go left. Old Hao said. Old He and James looked at each other. They could see the hesitation in each other's eyes. Lin Yi looked at Old Hao, but continued walking to the right path. Since there was no danger, he'd just take one. There was a saying that all roads lead to Rome. They might be able to get out of here. Ling Shan and Yutian, on the other hand, trusted Lin Yi 100%. Especially Yutian. He was someone who'd survived the jungle with Lin Yi, and Lin Yi was a very strong instructor. He could easily avoid the enemy's traps in the jungle, and he had sharp senses and senses. Yutian didn't suspect Lin Yi at all. Old He saw that Lin Yi was leaving, and after some hesitation, he followed. As far as he could see, the couple were arrogant people, but they were very careful. These two treasured their lives, and wouldn't do something that would kill them. Old He followed, and so did Xiaoka. James hesitated, but followed as well. Old Hao, on the other hand, had a displeased look on his face. After another 100 meters or so, Lin Yi stopped abruptly. Male thief, what's wrong now? Old He paused. There wasn't a fork in the road. Why did Lin Yi stop? Look behind you. Lin Yi turned around and said faintly. Lin Yi was more attentive this time, and noticed that there was a slight dip in the hallway when he was walking. If he wasn't mistaken, this should be the intersection of the two caves. Sure enough, there were two passageways behind them. They were exactly the same as the passageways they had seen before, and these people had come out from the right passageway. There's another tunnel. Old He said, shocked. If I'm not wrong, we'd come out from here if we went from the left. These two tunnels are connected. With that, Lin Yi didn't stop. Chapter 1336. After a while, there were 3 forks in the road. All 3 entrances were exactly the same. People without a map would have been lost by now. Lin Yi stood at the entrance of the 3 forks, testing it out before going to the right. The other 2 jade pendants reacted, especially the one in the middle. Naturally, Lin Yi went back to the one on the right. The people behind him continued to follow, and even Old Hao didn't say anything this time. After another few hundred meters, Lin Yi stopped again. There was still no exit in front of him. Old He, on the other hand, subconsciously looked back as well, but there wasn't any passageway. He didn't know what Lin Yi was doing. Your man died here. Lin Yi said faintly. Old He was stunned. He quickly shone the flashlight on the ground. With the weak light, there was indeed a pool of blood not far from the cave floor. However, if one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't be able to see it at all. So that means this is the right way? We didn't go the wrong way? James said happily. Old Hao's face darkened, but he said, all roads lead to Rome, we might be able to get here from the left as well. But at this time, no one would argue with him. At this time, Everyone saw the joy of success. Everyone finally walked out. But where's Mr. Chio's body? Old Hay looked around curiously, but didn't find a body. I don't know. Linny said, I have no obligation to find a body for you. If you want to look, then stay and look. No. I'll go with you. Old Hay trusted Lin Yi completely now. Thank God he heard what Linny said yesterday. That made him trust Lin Yi so much. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to go back alive today. This time, there were traces of lime on the ground, evidently from Mr. Chio. But he didn't see Mr. Chio's body along the way, which confirmed Lin Yi's guess. There was a master in this tomb. Of course, Mr. Chio was too far from Lin Yi, and with so many people holding hands, the line was very long, so Lin Yi didn't sense the master's aura. But if this person had gotten close, Lin Yi would have been able to sense it. This is the place. After a while, Lin Yi stopped and turned. We went the wrong way here. Everyone turned their heads after hearing Lin Yi's words. As expected, there was another cave behind them. Evidently, they had entered the wrong cave. That's right, I remember now, there was a rock blocking this entrance, and now that it's gone, I went the wrong way. I was looking for it, but I didn't know it was taken away. Old Hay slapped his forehead in realization. Who took it away? Lin Yi frowned. It seemed like he'd been dragged into a trap without realizing it, and the person behind this trap had an earth class helping them. He'd thought that having a mystic class among the tomb robbers would be the best, but Lin Yi wasn't expecting this. But Lin Yi didn't regret coming to this tomb. Even if he knew that there was an earth class here, Lin Yi still had to come. There were things that a man should do and shouldn't do. Lin Yi had to come for Xiao, no matter how dangerous or difficult it was. Even if the enemy was an earth class. If you want to stop me, I'll blow you up with an energy bomb. After blowing you up, I might live, but even if you don't die, you'll be crippled. So the appearance of an earth class gave Lin Yi some pressure, but it didn't stop Lin Yi's determination to continue exploring the tomb. Someone's been in the tomb. James also remembered the stones here and exclaimed, someone came to this ancient tomb before us. But some of the small marks that I have placed at the entrance of the old tomb have not been destroyed. Old Hay knit his brows and doubtfully said, although one can enter the old tomb without destroying those small marks if one's qigong reaches a certain level, the crux of the matter is that other than me, no one else knows what those small marks are. Lin Yi snorted at Old Hay's words. Even Lin Yi could enter the tomb without breaking the markings, let alone an earth class. He was underestimating mystic class and above. Only the few of us know about this tomb who came in first. James frowned as well. The two looked at each other, and suddenly shifted their gaze to Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't know how to react to the two suspecting him. He didn't know if the real couple had been here before, but he was the fake one. This was the only reason why he'd been impersonating them. Humph. If I was the one who did this, why would I bring you guys out? Are you retarded? Lin Yi smiled coldly. The two were used to Lin Yi's way of talking, but Lin Yi was right. If it was him, he wouldn't have to bring them out. But could it really be the dead old Kang? Now that he was dead, there was no proof. That's true. It's all thanks to the male thief this time. I think it's that bastard old Kang's doing. Old Hay humphed. I'm going to the underground palace. Are you guys going back or following? Lin Yi didn't have time to waste with them. Lin Yi was here for the fire spirit's fruit. Nothing else mattered to Lin Yi. I think we should go back first, discuss and come up with a plan? Old How suggested. Today's been such a bad day, and 2 people died, one of whom we don't even know how he died. If we don't get to the bottom of this, it'll be weird. Oh, then you guys go back. Lin Yi said faintly. To Lin Yi, the biggest enemy in this tomb was the earth class. Everyone else was nothing to Lin Yi. Male thief, I think Old How's right. Old Hay said after a sigh. Without Mr. Chio's protection, Old Hay was at a disadvantage. Evidently, he wanted to go back and find some more masters to protect him. Chapter 1337. Lin Yi didn't care if these people were following him or not, but Ling Shan looked at Lin Yi and gave him a meaningful look. Lin Yi remembered immediately that this trip to the tomb was Ling Shan and Yu Tian's mission. Their main mission was to capture these tomb robbers, and exploring the tomb was just a side mission, so these people's whereabouts were very important. Ling Shan didn't want to explore the tomb alone. She wanted to keep an eye on the robbers at all times, and if anything happened, she'd be able to call for reinforcements to surround the place. She was afraid that these people would think that the tomb was too dangerous and give up on this mission. If that were the case, it'd be a lot harder to capture them once they left. So Ling Shan suggested going back first. Lin Yi sighed. He was worried, but Xiao was already frozen in the coffin, so there shouldn't be any problems anytime soon. It didn't matter if they went back a day or a day later, since the tomb wasn't going to run away. Even if the robbers gave up, Lin Yi could still explore the tomb himself. All right, let's go back then. We'll decide after we discuss. Lin Yi nodded. Old Hao breathed out in relief, his smile widening. We should all work together, right? What if something goes wrong? The people going back were the same as when they came, riding the rope crane. Only 2 people were missing, Old Kang and Mr. Chiu. Mr. Chiu was easy to deal with, but Old Kang still had a few henchmen up there. He didn't know what Old Hai was going to do with them, or perhaps Old Hai had already informed his men to get rid of them. After the group went up, they didn't see any of Old Kang's men, only a few who had surrendered to Old Hai. That was how it was. When the tree falls, the monkeys scattered, Old Kang was dead, and his men would only be killed if they fought to the end. However, Lin Yi did not care about these things. Old Hai was just a tragic pawn. Although it seemed that he had taken advantage of Old Kang and absorbed his men, Lin Yi felt that he was being used. An invisible net had enveloped everyone, and an invisible ghostly hand was pushing everyone in the direction he had predicted. Lin Yi looked at them coldly, not saying anything as he walked back to the tent with Ling Shan and Yutian. He turned around after 2 steps, looking at Xiaoka. Be careful. It's too dangerous here. With your skills, you better go back. Xiaoka paused and wanted to say something, but Lin Yi had already left. This scene didn't attract much attention. The thief couple had a mean personality, and they were always direct with everyone they talked to. Old Hai thought that Lin Yi was mocking Xiaoka's uselessness, indirectly conveying his dissatisfaction to Old Hai. Could it be that the couple wasn't happy with the distribution? It was no wonder, after all, that Old Kang had died today, and the 15% he had was empty. Could it be that the couple was drooling over the 15%? With that thought, Old Hai's face darkened. He knew that it would be impossible to explore the tomb without Lin Yi's help. These people had almost gotten lost in there. If he didn't give Lin Yi more, Lin Yi might just leave and come back later to rob the tomb himself. Old Hai would have nothing to do then. With the couple's personality, there was no way they'd do something as unreasonable as this. Old Hai hesitated, but decided to give Lin Yi a portion of the profits if he was the one who brought it up. After all, Lin Yi was a very important person. Everyone rest for a bit, and then come to my tent later. We'll discuss our next plan. Old Hai said to the people present. Please give us some suggestions, Master Hao. Humph. Some people don't even care about an old man like me anymore. Old Hao humphed coldly as he watched Lin Yi leave. Old Hai, don't bring people who don't follow orders with us anymore. Old Hao. That's how the couple is, but they're really skilled. We can't leave them out for this tomb raid. Old Black said, a little troubled. He wasn't too happy with Old Hao, and he shouldn't have told the old man. He was just taking advantage of his seniority, and it was useless, but he was causing so much trouble. But it was easier to invite a god in than to send him away. Since this Old Hao was here, they couldn't just let him go. Old Hai could only explain, troubled. It's just luck, it's no big deal. Old Hao humphed. Lin Yi, Ling Shan, and Yutian went back to the tent, and the first thing Yutian did was check the listening device. Lin Yi waved his hand. Don't waste your energy. Old Hai wouldn't be stupid enough to do something like that again. He doesn't dare piss us off right now. Plus, there was one more thing Lin Yi didn't say. Lin Yi's jade didn't send out any alarms. This meant that the tent was safe, and there was nothing wrong. That's right, Old Hai and the others still need you to explore the tomb. But Lin Yi, how did you know which path led out? Yutian nodded, surprised at what Lin Yi had done today. Although he knew it before. Lin Yi's detection abilities were strong, but there were no clues in this tomb at all, and Lin Yi just walked out without any mistakes. Intuition, do you believe me? Lin Yi smiled. He didn't know how to explain his jade pendant, so he shrugged and said, that's right. Yutian paused, nodding. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? Ha! Lin Yi smiled. All right, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the tomb. You two need to prepare yourself, There's probably a master in this tomb raiding group. Master? You mean the one who killed Mr. Qiu? Lingshan and Yuqian weren't stupids. They understood immediately. That Mr. Qiu,